So, Kev.
Who, me?
Huh? What? Wait, you? No, sorry. I was talking to. There's someone behind you. Week 1.
It's a picture of some horses there.
Oh shit! Is that what those are? I thought that was a person that I could barely see off on the corner. That's who I was talking to. Oh, nice.
Horses.
Week 1.
What did we
started.
win? What did we win?
What did we win? Huh?
You said we won.
No, week 1 started.
Oh.
Week 1. Week 1
I
started.
decided to become an Eagles fan, so I was like, you did too? Really?
Oh yeah, 1000%. I mean, you're wearing well, it's not an Eagles shirt, but you're wearing almost Kelly green.
It's pretty Kelly green right there, yeah.
That's nice. I like that.
What I've decided to start doing on that note is what I've realized is if you just become a fan of the team that won the Super Bowl the year before, you very often you get to watch your favorite team win the Super Bowl again. Like the next year. It's awesome. So I'm an Eagles fan this year.
How many times have that people repeated the next year? It's more often than I probably think.
It has. I think it's only happened. Well, no, I believe I know for a fact it's only happened twice in the last 25 years. But
yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, never mind. Not as much as you think. I don't know why I thought because the Patriots did.
I think 03, 04 Patriots and the recent Chiefs, and then I think before that was the 98, 99 Broncos, and then before that was probably a Cowboys one in there somewhere.
Yep. And then you go to like the Steelers and stuff like that if you go far back.
See, actually, what it's like the Marian Hossa thing, where Marian Hossa lost the Stanley Cup Finals on the Penguins to the Red Wings, then joined the Red Wings, and then they lost Stanley Cup Final to the Penguins. I'm just kind of chasing my tail all over the place because then the next year when I was becoming a Patriots fan for about 15 years, they would win the Super Bowl, then lose the Super Bowl, and then win the Super Bowl, and I'd always be the fan of the other guys. So it was really frustrating.
See, but then you come back to Chicago and you win a cup, right? Just like Hossa did. Switch teams 3 years in a row. Finally wins a cup with us.
Well, I guess famously, like everybody else, what my huge advantage with the Blackhawks is I just didn't give a shit about hockey until like 2008, and then I got my championships real quick.
That's fair. Same.
In fairness, I've stuck with it, and I did watch them in 03 when they not already screwing up my bona fides, but I did watch them in the playoffs in 02 or 03, whatever the Daze years were.
Yeah,
but,
in fairness,
yeah, I mean, basically, like everybody else, I'm a bandwagon fan, so that was easy.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick on bandwagon fans, I think that's such a stupid term. Can I be fair? I get it, but I also think there are certain teams where like if you don't have a reason for fans to like join in and care about your team, right? You're not going to create fandom. Like I look at Detroit right now. Detroit's probably got a ton of bandwagon fans, but why the hell would anybody have suffered through being a Lions fan? Like if you were born anytime within the Super Bowl era, right?
Yeah.
Without having like parents that forced you into it.
Well, we basically, we're basically on the same. Real talk. We're on the same thing with the Bears. I've been a Bears fan for like an obsessive Bears fan enough to the point that I decided to start a podcast in my 30s. But I've been one for 25 plus years of my 30-some year life. They have sucked all but like 5 of those years. So
that's why I said unless you have reason.
Well, here's my theory, and I agree with you. But to be a bandwagon fan, I think it's just you don't like the sport that much. Like I love football, and it doesn't really matter so much to me that the Bears. I mean, I hate that the Bears suck, but it doesn't matter so much to me because I just genuinely enjoy watching a football game. Whereas, like, I didn't give a shit about hockey until the Hawks were good. Now I've learned to appreciate it. Bulls. I don't really care that much about basketball unless the Bulls are good.
I don't give a shit about baseball outside of the Cubs. But I had a reason to be like I remember my first Cubs game. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Adam. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Who was your favorite?
I was a massive Bears fan. That's why I became a Bears fan.
Let me ask you this about the Cubs. Who is your second favorite member of the 2013 Chicago Cubs?
Ontario?
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Not even close.
No, I don't fucking.
2 years, I think 2 or 3 years off. Point
Tears
is,
are-
they sucked. You stopped watching them. You had every access to watch them. You stopped watching them.
I've just, my memory on shit. I couldn't even do that with some Bears teams. I went to games all the time because they were $5 a pop.
Adam, do you want me to really fuck you up right now?
Yeah, I saw. You know when I stopped watching games? When they went over to Marquee.
What position on the 2013 Cubs did Nate Shearholtz start at?
You fucked me up. I'm not even trying to answer.
That's what I'm saying. You didn't pay that much attention. I could tell you the whole roster because I'm a huge Cubs fan. There's no shame in it. But if you don't love watching a team, no matter how shitty they are, you're gonna stop watching. There's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, it's a way better use of one's time. Look at my ass watching the 60 and 90 Cubs in late September for no reason, and when I could have been like learning a trade. I can't mow the lawn. I know everything about the 2013 Cubs though.
I will say I did go to more games between when they were going 60 and 90, right? I think
that's probably true of me because geography helped and also the cheapness of the tickets helped.
Cheap as shit and going to Wrigley was so much fun.
Also, I love going to Sox games now because I just don't have to concern myself. Not that I care about the Sox one or the other, but I love going to the Sox games because like I just get drunk. Who gives a shit? There's nothing on the field that's happening that I care about.
Sure, that's
nice.
Actually, I've enjoyed some Sox games with friends I've told you about. Like all my good friends are Sox fans, so I enjoy going to games and being belligerent about how bad they're doing.
That's genuinely my defense of a bandwagon. Yeah, I know you're a Cubs fan. I'm not saying you're not a Cubs fan, but you're also not one to you weren't going to stick around while they sucked total ass for from 10 to 15. That was a rough period of time.
I kind of did though. I just don't. There aren't a lot of fans, I feel like, in a lot of sports that pay. Let's be clear. I never said I was like I am with the Bears, right? Where I'm going to relentlessly pay attention to everything they do, right?
Yeah.
It was more and I wouldn't even call it a casual fandom, but the fans that only pay attention during the season that end up asking people like us about the Bears, oh, what should I be paying attention for? Right? Like paying attention to, oh, who's this new guy that I didn't know about that we had that like flashed? That's more that's more what I am in most sports. Right.
I mean, you're also like that. I mean, just in general, based on your personality, you're more likely to even like the Hawks and the Bulls and stuff like that and know some of the guys than just, the real casual fan, like the one who would never get into anything like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway,
my point with the Hawks, though, coming back to it, specifically on being a bandwagon fan there, we didn't have hockey in Chicago when we were growing up on TV. It's such an unfair thing.
People always want to make that excuse. We had 41 games a year, and we had the playoffs.
The only Hawks fans that I knew that were like Hawks fans that I knew that were our age had parents that were massive Hawks fans. So that's how they got into it, right? Like played hockey, right?
Yeah.
I didn't play hockey. If you didn't have it like on TV regularly, how the hell are you supposed to get into a sport?
The hockey kids were weird, weren't they? Like the kids that you knew played hockey, like growing up. It's like, you play what?
Yeah,
it's like the coolest thing in the world that you could possibly do.
I thought it was kick-ass. I
always thought it was like, you play hockey?
I wanted to play so damn bad because I thought the sport was cool. Because I actually did watch a good bit of hockey growing up. Like,
why is Craig Moore talking to me about Jaromir Jagr in second grade?
Yeah, just not. I was gonna say just not the Blackhawks, but because we didn't freaking have them on TV.
Yeah,
there was a point as a kid I could have been a Red Wings fan if I kept paying attention to the sport.
I just found it boring. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I kind of learned. I learned like what icing was, for example, during those 03, I think it was 02. One of those 02 playoffs. I kind of learned a little bit of like what was going on, but it was still like, why is Eric Daze not on the ice? I thought he was a starter. Like not realizing like they change every 45 to 60 seconds. Like I couldn't grasp what was going on. And I wasn't good at following the puck because I didn't know where the guys were supposed to be. It's easier to know where the puck is when you realize why the players are going, stuff like that. Yeah. You just don't pick up on it. It just gets hard to stay into it. But once you learn to appreciate the game, like, yeah, my ass can now watch the Blackhawks the last 3 years and appreciate just some fun hockey going on.
Also, to be fair, and we should probably get off this and get on to the wins draft. But to be fair, back when we were kids, it was way harder to even see the puck in the first place with those TVs. Like,
yeah, low def.
It was, yeah.
Can't even really.
But I will say, my favorite sports game as a kid was NHL. Well, outside of Tony Hawk, was NHL '99.
I definitely enjoyed the video games more than I enjoyed watching it on TV.
Yeah.
So I know you wanted to talk about week 1. I say we're going to draft both those teams. We could talk a little bit about their performance. We already know that the Eagles have a game in hand. So will that influence how highly we take them? I don't know. But let's talk wins draft. Let's talk rules. Do we remember how we did it last year? Do you want to stick with the same thing?
I don't know if I want to stick with the consolation. I think we should just flat out
just go 1 through 32. Makes sense. There is a merit to the other way around where that way you're not really getting stuck with something that you really, really don't want. Like it's the onus is on you to say, like, I think this will be the worst team in the league instead of just being stuck with the worst team in the league. I do think that's fun. But let's just keep it simple. Let's just go 1 through 32 here. Other thing is I owe you a punishment. However, I am sticking to, during the week, 900 calories a day because I need to drop back to my goal weight.
Bro,
I crash like a motherfucker. I don't care.
That's almost no. That's unhealthy, low, dude. I think you're at like the minimum amount of calories you should be having in a day for guys our age.
I know. It's okay.
I want to make a joke, but I'm not going to make it.
Trust me, it's okay. I want my medium t-shirts to fit me better again. Yep. Only some of them do now.
As a friend, I need to push back, and I'm pushing back.
So I will eat those 10 pancakes eventually. I should have done it earlier in the summer. But I owe you 10 pancakes. Granted, if I don't get to it, we can maybe just cancel each other out right now. Or we could both go to a pancake place together after the season. If you lose, whatever. Or I could just have to eat 20 fucking pancakes if I lose again.
I'm hoping you're going to eat 20 fucking pancakes. That shit would be funny.
But speaking of me losing, I lost so unbelievably spectacularly. Like to a point where you would think I know absolutely jack shit about anything at all. I did eke out a small win in the losers bracket, I believe, because you got stuck with, I think, both the Commanders and the Broncos, and I only got stuck with the Vikings, I think is what happened there.
Yep, and both of those teams had just breakout seasons. So pretty easy. You're going to toss a coin. We'll see who picks first. We're just going to go one by one, picking the team that we think is most likely to win. Sum up the 16 teams we each have. Most wins the whole thing. Yeah, pretty simple. Heads or tails?
We'll give a little thought on each thing. Man, I've been calling tails a lot and losing a lot lately, so tails.
And it is heads.
Fuck me, man. This is like the 4th coin toss in a row I've lost by calling tails.
Eventually he's got to that's actually shocking. That's
and probability does say the law of averages, which famously applies to coin tosses, that if there's been 3 heads in a row, odds are unbelievably high the next one will be tails.
0.003% chance that was heads. It's because what is it? Wait, I did 25%. Sorry, give me a second.
No, I was kidding. The odds never change. It's always
they don't technically, but the fact that we had 4 heads in a
the odds of 4 coin tosses being a heads in a row is 0.04ish. 0.0625.
Yep. Because it's 0.5 for each. Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Let's stop being nerds and let's get started. So it's my pick. And
yes, let's stop being nerds and dryly break down NFL teams for somehow 2 hours. Hopefully only 2 hours. In fact, definitely only 2 hours. We only have 2 hours.
I'm trying to think of who I want to pick on this one for the first over. It's not as clear cut as I feel like it would be typical years. There's a few teams that I would want to put up at the top. And I should be referencing my last what's it called? Full season predictor, the playoff predictor thing.
Yeah, but that you get a little creative with, don't you?
A little bit, but it gives me the strength of schedule, right? Because you're going through each game. So whereas I might think one roster is better than the other, if you look at schedules, and you actually break it down based off the schedule, it does help a bit.
Well, sure. Well, I've got strength of schedule, so if you have, I mean, I guess you don't want to necessarily give me two
It's not like
candidates,
that.
but if you
Like that.
wonder, I can tell you where they rank overall and based on last year's winning percentage.
Yeah, I could always just look it up, to be honest with you. I just bring that up because I'm trying to decide between a couple of teams that I don't want to name. And I am going to go, this is this year or last year? Nope, this was last year's. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and pick... Do you have someone outright? I'm just curious. Do you have the same issue with me at the top?
No, I'm happy with whatever you don't pick here.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Ooh, that was not on my list.
No?
But you do have a win in hand, and now you can talk about the game that, frankly, I did not really watch that much of yesterday.
Interesting, because I think going into that game, we both thought that it was going to be very boring, that the Eagles were going to handily hand the Cowboys a loss. Actually, part of the reason why I hesitated with this pick was because of the fact that they didn't just readily hand the Cowboys a loss. Their secondary gave up a lot more to CeeDee Lamb, like had him wide open. But CeeDee Lamb, to be fair, but had him wide open.
I saw Adoree Jackson on the field a lot more than I was expecting. I was like, I didn't know.
I think there's injuries in the secondary, which would be concerning for me in the beginning. I think that's where I hesitate the most. I will say Jihad Campbell looked great at linebacker, so that helps a lot. And their defensive line, even without Jalen Carter playing for a lot of it, looked great. But that goes back to what we talked about with the Cowboys offensive line, which I don't think I posted any of the episodes we've recorded, by the way, because I suck. This might be going out with the other draft at the same time. Anyway, coming back to it, there's a lot I got to edit out of those because Mike has already been traded. Which we should talk about probably after all of this, or when we get to the Packers and
we're just not. We're not going to.
Not what? Sorry, you broke out.
Yeah, whenever I bring up ourlads.com, it screws up my computer for some reason. We absolutely cannot publish those at this point. They were good at the time. Some of them were okay at the time, I should say. We can't be doing it now.
We can still publish the other draft we did, I think. The other ones, no.
What was the draft?
The team one, the one where we put the fantasy draft. Not fantasy, but like the Madden.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty evergreen.
Yep, I'm gonna post down.
That's bookkeeping. Whatever.
Yeah, so in that game, I will say Hurts was fun to watch. The run offense was pretty much on point. The defense honestly did a lot worse than I expected, but I don't think I can blame them on it. It felt more like Dak looked really good. Like his box score might not say it, but the shit that Dak was doing to keep their offensive live was fun to watch, man. He was doing some stuff. I know
CD let him down on a couple occasions, or maybe more than a couple, I think.
Yeah, there were quite a few drops. There was a lot. He had to avoid a lot of pressure. Their defensive line was just handing the ass to.
I saw a few plays. So they were on my lower. We have two TVs in the living room, and they were muted on my lower TV. And I did see him dancing away, throwing to his left the whole time. Dak is good. You forget how good Dak is until he comes back from injury for temporarily until he gets injured again.
Yeah,
he's such a good player. My main takeaway is the Eagles' defense looked rough, and as long as the Cowboys' offensive line protects, that really is formidable at full strength. Like Dak and CeeDee, obviously, and Pickens. I mean, it's obvious, but it's Pickett. When you see it, it's Pickens really, really slides right in. I think Tolbert's a pretty good third receiver. That is a solid passing attack, and there were not any major game management issues, at least in the first one. So it's we talked about it on some of the summer we published, but Schottenheimer is a problem, or could be a problem, but maybe he's not. So,
yep.
And honestly, giving up only 24 points to the Eagles is pretty damn good. It's pretty good for a team that didn't have Micah Parsons. Like, I don't know, maybe Micah Parsons is great. I sure wish the Packers didn't have him, but
Yeah.
One guy doesn't make the whole thing. Maybe the unit goes together under Flus.
Yeah.
I would say I was more impressed by the Cowboys and what I watched than I was disappointed by the Eagles. I think.
Yeah, and I think that's what made me hesitant to pick the Eagles right from the right from the jump. I'm just gonna stick with it, even because I didn't want that game to affect I didn't think that game was gonna affect us. We had said that we would do this draft with that game already in hand. We wanted to beforehand, but we just didn't find the time. So I'm just going to stick with what I had in the beginning. I'm just going to go with the Eagles. I think last year they were the best roster. It just comes back down to, again, you have one of the best supporting casts around your quarterback. And Jalen Hurts, I think it's propped up a lot. And then also, like, the discourse on him is kind of both ways, right? You have a lot of people who want to completely deny that Jalen Hurts is any good. And then you have a lot of people who think that he's a top 5 quarterback, where I'm like, it's a little bit in between, right? Like, he's definitely top 10. He might be top 8, right? I want to put him up with a Jalen Hurts.
Oh God, no. Hell no.
No?
I'm not even getting him top 10. No way.
I'd have to go through it. But I would probably I don't think you're winning. You're not winning a Super Bowl without at least a top 12 quarterback, in my mind. You need, there is a certain level of quarterback that you need to be able to win.
Well, you throw them into tiers, I guess.
Yeah.
More so. And the tier that Jalen Hurts is in is a pretty hefty tier. So like he's probably 12 in my opinion, because number 6 in my opinion is like Stafford. But like those two are like kind of in the same ish tier, I guess.
I'd say tier.
Maybe a spot or two below Stafford is where that tier starts, but it's kind of all the same tier. You could win Super Bowl with any of them, obviously.
Yeah. But let's go ahead. If you want to go with your pick, I don't think there's much I want to add to the Eagles. It really just depends on. I don't think they have the same depth that they had at defensive line this year. But I also think their defensive line is so good up top, and the depth that they do have is more than enough. It really comes down to the corners, and we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, everything else should look the same, in my opinion.
Also, I guess just to add, because again, stuff that we mentioned before, but their defensive line is so much less stacked than it has ever been. Like getting big snaps out of Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt as your starters is just so un-Eagles like. It's it'll probably all work out fine, but it is just like, this is way different than usual.
But it does come back to the strength of schedule point, which is why I have them up top. The NFC East is just not a great. I know that the commies, for instance, we had talked about that.
Hey.
We'll come back to them.
We'll get back to it. We cannot be fighting each other for the last word. I just want to say.
I just want to go with the strength of schedule point is a big part of it. I just that division is not one that I look at and think there's much challenge at outside of Jane Daniels being magical. So,
sure. To the strength of schedule point, I'm between 2. I'm pretty happy with all of my top 6, so I'm guaranteed to be pretty happy with my first 3 picks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go with the Bills. I just think that there is just significantly less depth in their division than the other candidates here.
They were they were the team that I was between with the Eagles.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I did put a bet down on the Patriots to win the division because I like the odds.
But a value bet doesn't mean that you actually see it happening.
The curse of Hard Knocks is probably real, but they were so aggressively boring on that show that I think that it's not going to hurt them. It was sweet. There were sweet moments. There was like, besides KJ Hamler and his scooter, there was nothing funny. Like there was nothing about that. That was like, also it felt like it was like 3 episodes shorter than a normal season, even though it wasn't. That's it. That was it.
Yeah, that's fair. I told you I did not like the Bears season at all, and
you're reverse biased at this point. You're reverse biased at this point because the Bills was just. Ugh.
I mean, the Bills one did get a little bit more mundane. I will say, though,
nobody's ever going to remember it.
The only team that I could think that beats out the curse was the Lions, and the Lions were exciting on it. So, like, maybe a little bit of flawed logic there, considering the Bears were also incredibly boring. But I know you enjoyed them.
They weren't boring. There was a lot of moments that people are going to remember. Even down to the stupid slip and slide thing, people are going to remember that. People wouldn't shut the hell up about it. There's just moments. You got to make some moments. The only thing I ever remember is KJ Hamler and a scooter.
I'm going to remember the fact that the McCaskies asked them to cut out all swears. That's why. And
it was still somehow significantly less boring than the one that didn't ask them to cut out swears. The Bills didn't even show guys getting cut, for God's sake.
Yeah,
what the hell?
You know, from my
you can't show me Mitchell Trubisky celebrating his win of the number 2 quarterback job.
My understanding is because they are now forcing teams that went to the playoffs, which wasn't a thing before. They've given teams a little bit more control over stuff. They don't want to piss off these teams that are probably more popular to show than having to do the Jets every 3 years.
So. Yeah. Anyway, I guess one just tiny little bit of a breakdown is they were good last year. They're great every year. The continuity is great. Honestly, one thing I took from Hard Knocks is that there is a cult like. It feels like they're in a cult. Like when guys leave, they come back and they're like, "Why did I ever leave Buffalo?" It's like. What kind of weird ass shit? But can't really imagine a better culture. And the only thing I could think of that they changed significantly at all was they subbed out Mac Hollins for Josh Palmer, which is the same basic shit to me. And then Amari Cooper left, but he didn't do anything for them after the deadline anyway. Probably all sorts of willingness to go in and grab a receiver at the deadline, which I'm sure they will do if they need to. Yeah, they're really well set up. Oh, and they added Joey Bosa too, which is pretty nice.
You look at the division.
Nice flyer, at least.
We'll talk about the rest of the division, but I think when you look at that division, the Patriots might be a surprising team. I would agree with you there.
Yeah, it's hard to get great vibes. Hard to get great vibes off the Dolphins, and I don't think the Jets are even worth mentioning.
Exactly.
I think the Jets very easily would have made it to our losers bracket if we still had one.
Which no slight to. Oh wow, I'm forgetting Aaron. Holy cow,
Glenn.
Aaron Glenn. I was forgetting his last name. I wanted to call him Aaron Carter for some reason. That was coming up a lot. He's not the old singer
that went crazy and died.
Aaron Glenn. That's no slight to Aaron Glenn. It's just they. I'm not a huge fan of the roster. Justin Fields is already hurt. On top of, I don't know how I feel about him in the situation, but it'll be fun seeing him throw to Garrett Wilson. But we'll see what happens. The Jets are the Jets. It's kind of a hard thing there.
It also might not be fun at all. We'll see.
Now for my next pick, you feel comfortable with your top 6, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. These two. 2 of my top 3 are still on the board, so I'll be happy to get either one of 4.
Okay. This is where I am trying to look at. I actually really do want to pull up my my old playoff predictor.
Penis. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I should pull out my penis. You wanna talk about penises real quick while I pull this up because I can't find it for the life of me.
Yeah, I think the engineering was flawed there. I think that it should have been like Brian Griffin from Family Guy. I think it should retract entirely into your body when you stand up, and it should only come out when you need to use it. I just think it's stupid to have that damn thing dangling around, and especially don't get me started on the balls. I'm talking about this.
Yeah. Oh. You know what I hate about Google Chat, by the way? You try to look up something and it gives you the result, and then when you click it, for some reason on mine, it sends me 10 messages down. So it doesn't send me right to where that message is.
Oh, yeah. You gotta, but at least you know to go up. It always makes you go down. I was looking for what you said about it. Looking for what you said about the thing earlier. I know you said some shit, but it might have been on our old Twitter DMs days. And we don't have to get into it. The thing that I said. I know you said something back in the day, and I didn't. You've done a little bit of a face turn here.
I'm not sure if I remember which thing you're talking about. What did I miss?
It is absolutely not worth bringing up then.
Oh, okay.
Talk about it later.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Your opinion on a public figure seems to have changed a little bit for the better.
Okay. Yes. I see what you're talking about now. I don't remember ever having that conversation about them with you before, but let's switch it up. So now I'm looking at the so this is the fun thing. Because it's almost opposite. Because I'm looking at a team right now, and I'm trying to decide if I want to go with them, even though I really like their division. But I also know that that division has a pretty easy schedule outside of the division.
It's also, I mean, all three teams seemingly, like, we're picking the worst. I think we both independently picked the worst team to make the playoffs, like the objectively worst team. I think we picked to make the playoffs because, yeah, it's a pretty easy outside the division schedule.
You talking about the same one? Because I have a feeling
truly cannot imagine we're not, but you could reveal it to me after you make your pick, I guess.
All right, I'm going with the Chiefs.
Is that what we were both talking about?
I mean, were you talking about the AFC West?
We both independently picked the Raiders to make the playoffs. It's kind of a surprise team. About. They're objectively the worst team in that division, but we both kind of are like on the Raiders.
I see what you're saying. Sorry, I thought we were both talking about the Chiefs on that. I'm like, wait, why is that the? Yes. We did both independently pick the Raiders too, because at one point I think I had all four teams from the AFC West.
Yeah,
making the playoffs.
Which I think is okay. I mean,
I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's that possible.
Yeah, it's possible, but it's not plausible. But it's. I think it's come close to happening. I'll fact check myself on that. I think it's come somewhat close.
I mean, it's possible that two divisions do it this year, depending on how lucky we get as fans.
Our beloved.
Yes.
Also, the NFC West could maybe. They've got the parity and enough teams where I can't say that many bad things about, except
I can't say.
We'll get to them.
Good about one.
We'll get to the one that we're both probably agree is the worst.
Yep.
I'll say. I mean, you can do your little Chiefs thoughts if you want, but I'll say I don't think there's any good excuse for not picking the Chiefs in the top two. It's just there's such a floor on them that you can't. I think if I were you, and it doesn't matter anymore, but your two picks make more sense to me reversed. Because it's like the Chiefs are just, it's a floor of 11.
Yep.
And it's a ceiling of 17th.
It is hard, though, to go with the Chiefs over the Eagles specifically. So, again, Bills and Eagles were the two that I was between. It's hard for me to go with the team in the harder division and that just lost the Super Bowl to the other team. But I would agree with you. If you look at them in reverse for most fans, you'd probably be like, oh, yeah, that makes more sense.
Sure. It's just, who would you be more surprised to fall to 9-8 this year? And I think the answer is, for me, it's definitely the Chiefs. The Chiefs have never been 9-8. It's been the same thing in place. They've fixed enough of their issues to an extent that, and it just doesn't matter. Like it is weird though, because I think they set a record. I think they broke the 2022 Vikings record for best record ever in one-score games, I believe. So it's like you see the cracks in the foundation, but also it's like Mahomes isn't done. Like,
oh, I'm not worried about Mahomes. No, don't get me wrong.
I know, but I'm saying the conversation could kind of start and begin at Mahomes if Mahomes was just like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to become a 5,500 yard passer again. I think he probably could.
Right. I do think that obviously like Rashee Rice, when he comes back from suspension, will be huge to get back on their team. And that was probably a good bit of why.
I just remember draft dub. I never get to take draft dubs on receivers because it's always more embarrassing when you beat me on them. But Rashee Rice, you did not like and I liked, so draft dub for me.
There we go. I don't remember it, but there we go. I don't remember a lot of stuff. There are times where
I wouldn't make it up.
Yeah. No. I believe you. I fully believe you. I'm not saying that for anybody listening to think that you're not telling the truth. It's just my memory sucks ass.
Sometimes I do lie, but not about stuff like this.
So I do think that's going to help a ton. The one score game point though is very valid, and I think Kelsey's regressed enough that when you've lost like a Tyreek Hill and Kelsey's regressed this much, and it's gone for as long as it has like this, and the offensive line might be worse than it was last year, right? Like they probably maybe better floor than at the end of last year, considering tackle. But I'm not as confident with everything that's going on around that I don't see a world where they could go 9-8. That said, it's still Mahomes. I still think Mahomes is going to be able to overcome a lot.
I mean, we were both big fans of Josh Simmons at left tackle, and he won that job. And that a lot. I mean,
that'll help.
A lot of things happen, and there's obviously a bit of a ceiling on any rookie left tackle unless you get into the really top 5 no doubt picks, and even then.
But it's like
but it's like
guard
that is so much better than Kingsley Sumatai or Joe Tooney at left tackle.
But the loss of Joe Tooney, I think, at the interior is going to hurt a bit, especially considering I don't know if I would have ever considered them a very good running team, and that's going to hurt your run game even more.
So it's going to hurt the run game, even though Tooney was certainly more pass block than run block. But it's a crazy part of me that thinks like, good, lean less on the run, stop running so much, stop being so boring. There was a time, whether you liked them or hated them, they were definitely the most entertaining team in football, and they have become the least entertaining team in football. They are not fun to watch. So I
think that comes down to the weapons.
If sacrificing some good inside run blocking for outside, great.
And I think that's going to come down to how Worthy takes his next step. He was a lot better towards the end of last year. Like the beginning of his season was very much what I was expecting, and then the end of last year he got a lot better. I don't think
there's anything that Worthy can do to make us wrong, honestly, about him. We're both just like, we could see a ceiling as like a 2 or a situational 3 receiver who plays on the outside type of thing, but he is never going to be like a great ball tracker or certainly not a great point of catch guy. But you don't necessarily even need that, especially with Mahomes throwing it. It's just like once he gets free, it's over. And then you put Hollywood Brown, if he stays healthy, on the other side of him. It's you can definitely see the bones of something good. And I'll say this. I did not take advantage of this in any of my fantasy leagues, but I am going to go with a slightly more rejuvenated Travis Kelce.
Really? I am worried about the age, man.
It of course fights the age curve, but he looked a little lazy. It looked like he could have. It's like he was working himself into game shape a little bit last year. But
here's my thing there, because a lot of times a lot of people will be like, last year they were excusing it, saying, okay, wait till the playoffs come, because the year before that, Kelce kicked it in during the playoffs. It was almost as if he was trying to do some minute management on his own with how he took some plays off, etc. That didn't happen. So I get a little bit worried where you've seen this trend now happen where he did kick it in one year, but then the next year he doesn't, right? How does that? It doesn't give me a lot of confidence, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess just the other greats, even Gronk and Tony Gonzalez, they all had this is the end, and then they had
it's fair.
really good second acts.
Gronk took a full year off, didn't he? He let his body fully recover.
Yeah,
before.
I would argue that Kelce basically did the same last year, which is a part of it. And also, honestly, I think he's happy he's engaged to the most famous person in the world now. So I think he's got a little more pep in his step. That's what I think is going to happen.
A lot of people aren't happy about that. You know what? Good for them. I'm happy for them. I don't understand why. I'm going to be honest with you. I just really quickly, if they get engaged, they're getting married, they're happy. We don't need to sit there and be like Debbie Downers about that.
I'll say this. I don't mind thinking about it, entertaining certain theories, or watching the entire 2 hours New Heights podcast when I've never really watched that podcast before, just to see how they interact with each other. I don't mind that. But when you're getting mad in real life about this happening or something like that, you are a psycho.
Yeah. Then that's what I'm basically trying to.
I certainly understand the voyeuristic, what's going on here, that.
No, yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the was it?
No, we agree.
Shapiro?
We agree.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ben Shapiro. We're not taking Ben Shapiro. My next pick is the Ravens.
Oh, good pick. Talk to me about
another
the 2025 Ravens.
Again, like the Chiefs, there's just the floor is so well established that it's irresponsible to let them drop any further than this, in my opinion. I would expect them to maybe face. I don't even know if that's true. So I'm looking through the thing right now. Let's see where they are, strength of schedule wise. So Bills, by the way, based on last year's win percentage, 23rd in the league. So easier schedule than the midway point. Ravens are up at 9, but like, I think at the. Well, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away in terms of the rest of this draft, but like, I don't think that any real changes happen within the division. They added DeAndre Hopkins. I don't really expect that to be much either way. He's a little washed up, but it's something. Another year development out of Isaiah Likely, who we both acknowledge would be a number 1 tight end on probably 28 or 28 strong, 26, 25, 24 teams. And yeah, again, another team I can't really think of many major losses. As always, they just made a smart first-round pick in Malachi Starks. Like they kind of lacked the true blue free safety type. The only other thing I think of is they lost Brandon Stevens, who was not a very good corner, and they replaced him with some veteran that I cannot remember offhand. What veteran was it? Jair Alexander. That's an upgrade there. They just did a Ravens thing. They did Ravens things all off season. Why would it stop now? Basically, it would take a Lamar injury for them not to win 11 games.
It is interesting that Jair is a little bit of an upgrade, but I question a lot of the stuff coming out of Green Bay about how Jair was just all around. That said, the Ravens defense I think is looking to have a good season again. Coming through it. I don't want to like.
I don't know. When have the Ravens ever not been able to handle a personality? Honestly,
yeah,
like
that's not. Yeah, that's less what I'm worried about. More what I'm worried about is it also seems like there was a drop off in performance while he was there.
Yeah,
that's
probably true. But I know for a fact that I'd rather have him than Brandon Stevens back there. So. Slight upgrade in an important spot on defense. Drafting well as always. I don't believe they lost any offensive linemen, which I think would be a first for them for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
They lost Makari, but he wasn't like a full-time starter. I could be forgetting maybe a guard. I don't think so. I can't pull up Arlads or else the whole damn stream gets screwed up. Yeah, I just
off of Arlads the transactions because I can give you.
I just like an easy view of the depth chart so I don't forget names. But it's fine.
Just pull up ESPN
because Arlads is just such.
It's more accurate. Don't get me. I agree with you, but it have something up there, you know.
Yeah, they do color code it for like new guys and stuff. Just it's more seamless for me. But yeah, I got it. It doesn't matter. It's the Ravens. They're gonna Ravens. They added some veterans that got cut that probably shouldn't have been cut if the teams were more responsible with their salary cap. Yeah. I guess my one prediction is that DeAndre Hopkins is probably not going to be the 3 receiver by the end of the year, but I'd still be feeling pretty good if I had DeAndre Hopkins with the upside that he could offer. But him and Jair were the 2 kind of most notable additions. Good team. It's the Ravens. What can you say?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with all of that. It's also Lamar. We can't talk about the Ravens without talking about Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers has really come into his own. We've talked about Likely. Like I like this is again coming off of last season. They continue to now have weapons around Lamar to make him even better than what he was before. Derrick Henry should still do really well again with that offensive line. They're gonna be fun to watch. I want to see that defense take a step back, like a little bit of a bounce back. They didn't take that big of a step backwards, right? But I want them to bounce back from that little step they took back. Because at that point, I'm like, you guys are probably going to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl, and this would be the best team in the league. So
yeah,
coming back to it, this is where I start to get. So where you said 6, right? Did we get all 6 of yours, or did we leave one?
Well, we've only done 4 so far. We're fighting. I just have a clear 5th and 6th, I guess, is what I would say here.
This is where I become less clear. This is where I feel like I've got a lot of teams where I'm like, I'm a little uncertain. That's why I was asking, but then I also realized that we only did 4. I don't.
Uncertainty for sure, but
like
what I don't doubt is the quality of the teams that I'm targeting.
I do doubt the quality of the one team I want to say really badly, but I still want to say them, and some of it also has to do with injury, and where the quarterback is at. I don't know if you're catching my vibes on this team. I'm gonna actually skip them, and I'm gonna go ahead and look at.
I'm literally going down this list trying to figure out who the hell you could be talking about. Oh, ooh.
No.
Okay. No, they're not one of my 2, but okay. I'm picking it up now. Yeah. That is a big factor for me. I'm scared.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to take another one in the same division. It would be so stupid. This early. Crap, there's not a lot of teams that I feel super great. Oh, I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
It's one of my 2. You know it's one of my 2.
It's hard because, okay, so now this is a different reason why I'm concerned. JJ McCarthy is such a wild card to me, man. And the thing is, like, he could be the 20th best quarterback by any film watcher. Like, any football nerd could sit there and say, like, oh, he's not doing that much. Obviously, with box score shit, people are gonna be like, oh, Tua's great, right? But Tua's probably like what, bottom, like not even in the top 16.
Yeah, so for the same reason, his stats will reflect the 6th best quarterback in the NFL, even if he's 20.
So people are going to overrate it. But I already have a feeling that he could be he might end up just being that. And like, that's what coming into him going into the draft, I wasn't a huge fan. What's up?
No, you're good.
Oh. Are you talking? Oh, okay. You can just.
What I thought would be funny is to silently be handed 2 beers off screen.
I kind of wish you just yelled out "beer me" at the end there. So I wasn't a huge fan of JJ McCarthy coming out. It sounds like a lot of the things that I had against him as a prospect, they kind of already know and they've been working on. So like they've been working on his ability to layer the ball, put and throw a touch. There was a really funny interception where it looks like he was just throwing it straight to the Patriots in one game. And it was obvious that he was trying to do a layered throw, but he just could not get the ball to drop where it needed to, so it went straight to the defender. So I worry about that, and I wonder how low his floor is. But then I also look at KOC, and I thought going into that draft, if he's going to succeed in the NFL, this was a situation he needed to be in to succeed. Like it's a good marriage. I think KOC will be able to use a lot of the things that he is good at. And then you have Justin Jefferson, you have Jay Jettas, and you have, when Addison comes back, you have
him. Arrested Jordan Addison, a much-deserved vacation for 3 games.
Much deserved. So
well, you have the reason that he's having the vacation is deserved, to be fair.
Yeah, he deserves the punishment. Like
vacation.
It's such a great situation though everywhere else that, like, I think we've talked about this. If he's the 20th best quarterback by film nerds, he will be like the 6th best on stats, like you said, and they will probably end up winning the division, I think, handedly, because of reasons we'll get into with other teams.
Yeah, so since we will have lost our entire NFC North episode that I recall being good for some parts, yeah, we're on the same page here. Well, actually, we were on the same page because formerly they were my pick to win the NFC, because I just do love the entire roster. Like people even, people question adding Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen. From my perspective, they needed more interior juice, and you only need one of those bets to work. Like, it's like, even that to me is like, that makes so much sense. It's not hurting them in any real way.
Yep.
I mean, trading Harrison Phillips at the near cutdown day was a little odd to me.
Mm-hmm.
But just in general, they've only gotten the personnel better for Flores' defense. Now there's going to be more interior rush.
Yep.
The corners still suck, but they sucked last year too. And I kind of like Isaiah Rodgers.
The corners are
the
better
offensive
than
line
last year.
improvements.
To be clear, the corners are still better than last year. Like, even though they suck, I do think there is a.
I think I would take Stephen Gilmore over Stephon Gilmore over Isaiah Rodgers in a vacuum. Last year's version of Stephon Gilmore. It's not. It's I don't know. It's close, and that's like I don't think you can expect Byron Murphy to necessarily keep on the same level of play.
I meant to say the defense is still better than it was last year, not the corners. Like the personnel, the personnel is
I agree with.
markedly upgraded.
They did have a dream defensive season, and then offensively, I do like. I mean, I like. The offensive line stuff was really, really good to me. I really like Ryan Kelly and Will Freeze. And then, I think they absolutely should have traded down in round one. If they're going to use a pick on a guy, I couldn't be more confident that Donovan Jackson is going to be a really good guard right away.
Yeah.
Tyler Booker went like 12th or whatever. I think Jackson should have been that pick if they had to do that. I guess I probably wouldn't have taken a guard at all there, but if you had to, I definitely would for Jackson. Man, the guy was really good at left tackle on Ohio State in the national championship against like real pass rushers.
Yep.
Now you're moving him back inside to his natural position guard. He's gonna be good. I just think the whole offensive infrastructure, all you have to be is a little better than Sam Darnold, who, make no mistake, was not good last year. He was the same Sam Darnold we've always known. It's just the KOC is just such a good quarterback coach that it's just always there for him. The weapons are always wide open for him. It's just such a great infrastructure that if like our pre-draft evaluation of JJ McCarthy is only like 20% wrong in a positive direction, it's going to be a friggin' bonanza over there.
Yeah, there's one thing that JJ McCarthy is good at. It's throwing a laser over the middle to a wide open wide receiver, because at Michigan, they literally ran the ball so often, even on like third and long. They would run the ball.
Just got surprised they would pass.
Yeah, at all. Like, so the moment that they would pass, it would be a wide open dig over the middle that he didn't have to like try to layer in or anything like that.
It is play action heavy. Like whatever you think of Caleb and whatever you think of JJ, it's like who would you rather have in the play action heavy offense? Like as a young player, it's like probably JJ because Caleb is like not used to that.
JJ has more practice with it, specifically from Michigan being under center and everything like that.
It's like that whole thing feels like it's going to hum. It feels like JJ is going to look a lot better than he is. And also, I'm not opposed to the idea that JJ is just good. It wasn't my or your evaluation, but like I could see it. I could definitely see him piecing together the positive parts of his game in a way that cover up the parts he can't do, at least during the regular season. Yeah. So I'm so in on the Vikings, and I think the Vikings are the one that all the stat nerds are like they're the obvious one that will drop off in this division, especially if one needs to make room for the Bears.
I disagree. I have another team that I think is
stat nerd wise.
Yeah, I know.
The Lions were so good last year that there's no real reason to think they would drop off stat nerd wise.
That's the exact reason though why I think a stat nerd should sit there and be like, oh hey, can they repeat this? How often does a team?
Yeah, but I'm saying the Vikings indicators, again, really good in close games, for example, turnover luck, that type of stuff.
That's fair. All the things that would be volatile year to year aren't the high things.
That's what I'm getting at. But it's like, the other end is I really think I'm finally starting to understand what Kwesi's doing here. In most cases, I see the vision, and the coaching staff is. When you consider the defensive coordinator, is it the best in the NFL? Would we possibly go that far?
No, I mean
just coaching staff as a whole. When we consider the defensive coordinator,
staff as a whole, even the DC themselves,
main offense and main defensive guy combined, I think it might be the best coaching staff in the NFL.
Proven wise, yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
It's probably actually Kansas City. It's Andy Reid and Spags, probably.
I'm trying to really
by a hair.
Spags might be about as good as. That's pulling hairs, man.
It's tough.
Yeah, because I feel like they're almost equals on both, and I'm like, sorry. You know what
They
I mean?
both look wildly different. Spags is better at I guess doing it in a way where you don't, in more of a subtle way than Flores, I guess.
Spags feels like he would be more. How do I put this? Even though Flores has shown consistent, like his defenses have consistently performed, it almost feels like at one point that like the floor should just fall off, right? And it doesn't. Specifically because he does a really good job of actually keeping that floor pretty high by being a little bit more conservative in the back end. But yeah, no. Whereas like Spags, I feel like you'd be like, okay, hey, no, this is something that should work year in and year out. So I don't know. That's hard because then I also have to look at KOC and Andy Reid, and it's like, man, I can't forget how damn good Andy Reid is, even though I want to be like KOC's better. But Andy Reid he's been amazing for God knows how long, since like the McNabb Eagles. So
yeah,
that's a hard one. But I think that's it. I mean, there's not much I want to add with the Vikings. It's just that roster is stacked through and through. So, like, the only way I could see them doing poorly is if JJ McCarthy is just an absolute bust. Like, he just needs to hit a reasonable floor for a rookie quarterback. He's in a situation that I think is just they'd have to get super injured. And with Darisaw coming back, I mean, we'll see how Darisaw does coming back from injury. But their tackles are healthy now. And that interior offensive line is upgraded, and everything else we talked about, I can't see it. I think they could end up being incredible. So
my next pick is the Green Bay Packers. They are also my pick now. I've changed my mind. They are now my pick to come out of the NFC.
How do we feel about the
Where do I start?
Injuries? The fact that he needs the hell is it called? He needs something to get through the pain, if I remember correctly.
How I feel is that I would like this pick to be horribly wrong, and
trade
for a big part of that to be that it was a horribly regrettable trade that they get nothing out of him in his first year. The realistic thing is that even if he's on a pitch count to start off with, those are going to be 25 incredible snaps.
Yeah.
Probably better than any snaps he could do because he's going to be going so hard.
Epidural injection is what it is. And it's a L4, L5. I never feel comfortable with back injuries, man. That's where I'm like, and I would assume they knew, like, right before the
Wouldn't
trade.
You? Let's talk about the trade. We didn't talk about the trade. What we did talk about that I'll take another slight dub is when we were talking about Terry McLaurin and Michael Parsons both holding out. I did say McLaurin I give like less than a 5% chance of going anywhere. Parsons I'm willing to go about 20% or so.
Yep.
And then we did a potentially regrettable role play of you being Ryan Poles and me being Jerry Jones trying to negotiate a trade. But at the end of the day, wouldn't you have done exactly what the Packers did? Like, you don't have all the medicals in front of you, but wouldn't you have done the same?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it on the day of the trade, and I was upset that the Bears didn't put in more. And I was trying to figure out, like, okay, was it really that what's his name? Kenny Clark was the factor? Like, is it just because we couldn't give them a Kenny Clark that we didn't get it? Like, why would we not have matched that? Now with the injury, I'm a lot more concerned. Not concerned, actually excited to see what happens because fuck the Pack. I don't know, man. Like, I would have pulled the trigger right away and then made it obvious that it's pendant off of like a what's it called? A physical. That kind of injury scares the shit out of me. Like with any player. It's just back injuries just do not it's hard when it affects your entire body. It affects your core, it affects how your legs move and how you're running. It's gonna affect how you turn and twist as you're like trying to use your hands and hand fight off the line. It's going to affect your bend. Like, it's just a lot that could go wrong. I don't know what the extent of this sprain is to know how long it might last, if it's something that will heal, etc. At least it's not like something like actual structural, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, like you said, back is always very tricky.
I will say this. I'm shocked that trade was enough for you to jump them this high. considering the injury, specifically
Well,
because I think when we both weren't very high on them. I think during our last talk.
I mean, I still, I pegged them as the team most likely for the Bears to take their spot in the top 3 if the Bears were to do that.
I think we're both higher on Jordan Love than I think like any Bears fan will probably be because of injury.
Yeah,
last year that can excuse a lot of stuff.
I'm probably maniacally high on Jordan Love at this point.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. I know that is not something people are gonna like to hear, but
I don't know if I disagree.
Man, Jordan Love plays the game exactly. It comes down to preference. There's a reason I love Matthew Stafford so much, and Jordan Love is one of the Staffordiest quarterbacks in the league.
Would you call him
some people like to use more dog whistly terms. That again, on an episode that I think it's gonna not be on here. That was a funny discussion. So on the Athletic, they call quarterbacks who play like Matthew Stafford. They call him honorable, and it's a funny, stupid thing that I keep coming back to. But Jordan Love is like the third Staffordiest quarterback in the league behind Stafford and probably Geno.
Do you know when you have like random thoughts in the shower? That was one of the ones that I was having in the shower the other day. Was I came back to that honorable thing, and I'm just thinking, I'm like, how do you explain that without it coming off dog whistly? Like, how do you define honorable that it doesn't just sound like?
You just say something other than honorable first. You don't say that.
Like, if you're gonna use that term, I'm like, okay, could you call it like this is somebody who would be more traditional, like a knight would? Then that's why you say honorable. That's so much worse. Like, I was thinking about like it's so much, like I can't come up with anything. Like everything I tried, I'm like, you can't. That's just a bad term.
Here's what you do.
Think about it. It's just a bad term.
Most aggressive from the pocket.
Right, no, but I'm trying to say, like, how do you defend the term honorable? You can come up with another term. That's fine.
You can't, right.
It's just how do you defend the term? And it's like, I don't know, man. That's why I said like traditional, like a night, because that would be like a traditional quarterback. You sit there, you take the hit, and you just throw it.
Because what it is,
Smith should be up there.
Because what it is like Derek Klassen or whatever. He just, and I agree with him. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm not watching Lamar Jackson and scowling like that ain't how quarterback's supposed to be played, but I do have a stylistic preference, and what I really think is really cool to watch is a guy who does stand in there and does not take off and run, because taking off and running can come with a bunch of problems. A guy who does just stand there and delivers a creative, cool throw like that aesthetically is what I want to see. And it is not, it really should probably not be lost on the people who are on Blue Sky, not understand that list, that the second and third best at this ability are black guys. It's not a white thing.
Right. But who do they have on them? Did they have Geno up on the list high enough? I feel
Geno
like I looked at
Geno was 2. They had Love 4th. They had Sam Darnold 5th, which I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And third was another white guy, Josh Allen, Josh Allen was a very strange one to me, but that's the one where all the people were like, well, this is racist then. You're telling me Josh, it's like, yeah, because Josh Allen, like 75% of the time does do this. Just the 25% of the other time he does the other stuff that hides the fact that he makes wild throws from the pocket. And that's what we like. That's what we like to look at.
And this is the thing is I understand why he came up with the term. I just think if you think about it for like 5 seconds, you would realize that, right? Like you just have to think.
What it takes is for a totally out of context graphic made by the athletic team to be put on Blue Sky with no explanation besides, these are the quarterbacks that stand tall in the pocket and deliver creative throws.
Yep.
That like, it's like, yeah, wow, these two amazing Klassen are huge racists. Wow. It's like,
because I think what you're coming up with like that. Okay, how do we talk about something that seems more traditional and you're taking hits and you're doing things where you're like, but also let's be very clear here. What Lamar does, what Jaden Daniels did last year, I thought was incredibly fun to watch. So while I might agree with you on the aesthetics of playing quarterback, I think they're like both styles are going to be fun watches no matter what.
Actually,
to be honest, I don't have a preference on what my quarterback would be like. Because
I want to come back. Amazing. I want to come back briefly, actually, to traditional, just to put a little button on this whole honorable talk. This also is not traditional. This is this is almost every bit as next gen as our new class of quarterbacks that scramble. Sitting in the pocket is one thing. The insane move, like the insane just off-platformy fucking just rocket arm into like it does not look like there's any reason to throw the ball. They're seeing something that's not like even Dan Marino wasn't really like that.
Different. But I think if they did this last year, they probably would have had Kirk up there in the same sense of the actual back.
I mean, Fitzpatrick is one of the patron saints.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, like, maybe a little bit Elway in his younger years was a little bit like this, but like it's not.
I understand what you're talking about with the arm
angles. Traditional is like traditional's probably at the bottom of the list. Traditional's like Aaron Rodgers. Take what you can get. Don't risk any turnovers. Like that's Aaron Rodgers is traditional.
That's right. I mean, I'm talking more so Kirk Cousins, I would think, is a little bit traditional, but he's also
CJ Stroud is traditional.
Yes, and both of them still take like they don't leave that. I mean, Kirk Cousins leaves a little bit more meat on the bone than you would like. There are times where he could have just probably thrown past the sticks, right?
I think Cousins is a tier below if I'm guessing how they've done this.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that's more what I'm thinking of. You are right though when it comes down to arm angle, when it comes down to the creating space when there isn't space and you have a muddy pocket, right? So being able to one thing Jordan Love does great, as we're talking about the Packers, let's bring it back to the Packers, is when he's healthy and his ankle is good, right? He has this ability to take it's almost like a fadeaway, a jump shot in basketball, like that step back throw creates a little bit of space in front of him so he can get a throw off, and his arm talent is good enough where that throw, like he'll throw a 30-yard post on point.
Yeah, like, which is maybe the uniform doesn't help, but announcer pointed out, and I definitely see it myself, which is a weird mechanical tick, I guess that he definitely got from watching Aaron Rodgers. Like the thing is, he attacks the field in a I wouldn't say a much different way, but yes, I would. I guess polar opposite way. He attacks the middle. He attacks every level. He's not afraid of throwing a pick, and Rodgers was definitely afraid of throwing a pick.
In how aggressive he is, I think he's more like Brett Favre than he is like Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I do think that, and I personally, I would prefer that with less stupidity, and I think he comes with less stupidity than Favre did. And maybe less embezzlement of money and funneling money to that other people need to your daughter's volleyball court, allegedly.
I kind of thought that was good, because if you take start off super sincere,
but going back to it,
also there's no evidence that massage therapist did not want a picture of his not massage therapist. She was a reporter. I'm sorry.
Stop.
There was no evidence that she just full heel turn defending everything Brett Favre has ever done.
Is it bad that when he said massage therapist, my first thought wasn't Watson, it was Robert Kraft? God, how many times does the NFL do this to those poor?
Okay, now to be serious, just really quickly. I believe the Robert Kraft story wasn't so bad by Robert Kraft. I don't believe he was doing anything super inappropriate.
No. These were expected.
I believe No. I believe the business, as it turns out, was not on the up and up. But he really would not have had any way of. He just wanted to get jacked off.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It was an expected rub and tug. This wasn't
right. This wasn't turning around and presenting himself to fucking 30 women who never at any point had anything other than a massage in mind. Yes,
this was consensual up front because of the business practice. Very different, but incredibly different. Even I don't defend it, but would much rather know that the person that I'm affiliated with do.
I'd like to talk a little bit more about my pick, because we're only on pick 6 and we got to get through this. But
I wanted to make one point though on the way that he throws the ball. That when you said he gets that from Rodgers, I think Rodgers also got that a little bit from Favre, if I remember correctly. It's funny that they've like those years that they sit on the bench, they do learn quite a bit from it. It helps to have a great quarterback first, right? Because then your other quarterback can learn from a great quarterback. I don't think this is something that just happens just from being on the bench.
I mean this genuinely, and It's just a thought that popped in my head, and we're not going to get to it until very much later in this draft. But I genuinely do wonder, like, what can Jackson Dart learn from Russell Wilson, who, as much as we like to laugh at what Russell Wilson has become, is one of the greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time. It's like, I wonder, like,
Debatably.
that to me, no, not debatably. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He's definitely one of the top 50. He's probably one of the top 30.
Oh, if we're going to go that, yeah, if we're going that deep, sure.
Debatable, we get into the top 20. That is almost certainly not true. But top 30, I think, is probably fairly safe to say.
Yep.
Point being, I wonder how long you need to sit on the bench. Because, there's a whole debate. Do you sit on what do you do with the young quarterback? And I do think the Packers are a pretty good version of an A/B test of A here, of like, yes, do it. They become good. And then you can even see with your own eyes that they learn these little things that are, things you wouldn't expect, like a weird hitch in their throat. Like, it's bizarre. You start to see the same thing for 30 years in these quarterbacks that.
It comes back to JJ McCarthy. We had a conversation about this, and I think his injury kind of hurt that ability to like fix it. If they had a full year of him
practice,
it would get mostly because I thought and I said this when we talked about it. The issues I had with him mostly were he doesn't have a lot of different pitches. How do you work on pitches when you're hurt, right? How do I learn how to lure a ball or throw with touch or use this different arm angle? When all I have is I have a fastball. That's it. I can't do that when I'm injured. However, had he have stayed healthy, I would have totally understood them holding him back a year to work on that, because I think it takes a lot of reps, and the easiest way to get reps is when that's something that you can concentrate on the side when what's it called? The scout teams going up against the scout teams went up against the first team offense, or like things that you can do on top of the fact that like you're not getting as many reps in practice, so you might as well work on something else, right? Like, and in addition to stuff, you don't have to do as much game planning during your off time. You can go out and just throw the ball and work on those mechanics. I think that helps a ton when it comes to those mechanical deficiencies. Yeah, obviously it's going to also help with learning the offense, because you're taking a full year of just learning it and not having to like put yourself in a stressful situation where you could lose.
But again, point is really quick. I am genuinely interested. This thought that just occurred to me is like, I am genuinely interested once Jackson Dart takes the field, because Jackson Dart doesn't play anything like Russell Wilson. I do wonder, like, does he pick up a mannerism or two? Because that would be, I don't know, kind of cool to see. Like, you don't get a lot of opportunities where a guy's behind a Hall of Fame quarterback, and this will at least be happening for 6 to 8 games until Dart inevitably takes over. So I don't know. I just wonder. But really quick, I just want to defend. Yeah. I must be defending my pick of the Packers here. I had them like 9-8-ish, 10-7-ish, a prime candidate to fall to the bottom of the position division if all the NFC North teams stay healthy, but the Bears take a step up. The Packers are probably going to be my pick to finish in last in that case. I will fully admit, I'm thinking back to 2018 a little bit, how unbelievably rejuvenating, how excited you could tell the defense was as a whole to be like, damn, this front office believes in us. They got us this final piece. Like, we are going to ball the hell out. And I fully do expect that out of this defense. Even I'm looking at this cornerback depth chart right now, and I'm for some reason seeing a wide receiver as their fifth cornerback. Not kidding. Bo Melton, a receiver who's had 1 or 2 really great games as a receiver in the NFL in his 2 years, apparently has been converted to corner, which his brother admittedly does play pretty well in the Cardinals, so I'm sure he has experience as well there. Made the team and is a corner. And again, knowing the Packers and their fucking voodoo magic, the same voodoo magic that I've had to deal with like the St. Louis Cardinals in baseball, the Packers have the voodoo magic where it's probably going to work.
See, this is why I have to disagree.
Just give me a sec. Just give me a sec. Let me get through, and you can respond to the whole thing, because I just want to run down really quick where I'm at. Same voodoo magic. I didn't like Matthew Golden that much as a prospect. Like, he's more of a second rounder. The reports in training camp are absolutely glowing. I'm not going to predict that he's going to be great, but I'm not going to be surprised if he's great. I could just be wrong. I'm wrong all the time about shit. There are 2 free agent signings. Aaron Banks at left guard, huge overpay, didn't like it. He still is a pretty good guard. Solid guard. And last, Nate Hobbs from U of I, lovely player, has played nickel the majority of his career. Don't necessarily trust the fit, but it's probably better than having to deal with Jair Alexander on their end. He is a pretty good corner. All that to say, and then some expected progression. This is one of the youngest teams in the NFL. They just got Micah goddamn Parsons, and yeah, he's going to be on a pitch count for the first few weeks, but I think the vibes are really good. I love, like we've been talking about nonstop for way too long, I love healthy Jordan Love now, so I'm going to lean into it, and I'm going to hope to be wrong. I'm going to hope to be wrong, because I, of course, really do hate the Packers, but the vibes seem so good to me.
So I should be clear. I had them, I think, on this predictor, I had them at 10-7. They just squeak in to the playoffs because that was before Micah, and it was specifically because I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep the Lions out or the Vikings out specifically for the JJ McCarthy sucks situation is the one that I'm looking at right now. So that's why I knew to pick the Vikings, even though they were lower on here. Because I know this is what situation this was for. That 10-7 with Micah, I can see where you're getting at. My big issue, though, is always going to be on their defense. I think the offense will be better this year.
And the defense was good, and Hafey was a really, really weirdly good defensive coordinator. Halfley, I forget his name.
Chuck Halfley, I think they're taking a step back. I think they've lost even more. Their secondary has taken an even they added Parsons, and granted, they don't have a pass rush, but their linebackers, I think, are overrated, and their secondary has taken an even bigger step back. I don't know how to feel about that. When I think last year they were more average than good. Does that make that would be my thing? And we're talking about top 6 teams. If you were talking about top 8, I'd be like, okay, cool, I get it.
Let me pose.
I'm only pushing back a little bit.
I know, but let me pose this. Actually, I think it's a fun thought experiment, and then we actually have to get off of this. Yeah. But if you're the Bears and all contracts, every situation is equal. This is entirely about how good the players are versus how good the player you're getting is. Would you trade Jalen Johnson for Micah Parsons? Yes.
A healthy Micah Parsons? Absolutely.
Yes. Would you trade Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon for Micah Parsons? Reason for the question being, how much of your secondary, how much of your corners are you willing to destroy in favor of getting Micah Parsons? Which is, in a way, kind of what we're talking about with the Packers.
So
not directly, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I do think that it's easier to rebuild that secondary afterwards, which is why I actually think it's smart to build back to front, because it's way harder to find an edge that actually is worth a damn. Even if you use a first-round pick 3 years in a row, it's probably a coin flip that you found one in those 3 years. So yeah, I'd rather do that, but I don't think that helps and again, this is a healthy Micah, which I think is my bigger issue on this is what are you getting in Micah this year? But that takes into account the fact that I'm expecting a drop off for a little bit until I can rebuild that, right? Because I just got him. Because I know it's going to be easier next year. When I go into draft a corner, I could probably find a corner in the first or second round that's going to give me shit, right? I don't have that right now. And I do think your floor drops off significantly when you've got 2 holes. But you've got 2 holes on a secondary.
You're answering a question that I actually did not intend for you to start answering. I meant in order to become better for this season.
I would disagree with it. Just for this season, especially with the injury, I would disagree. Because
I certainly no. We're taking.
I would certainly make the trade. I would certainly make
it. Doesn't matter. But you still would trade Jalen for Micah Parsons. I understand. I'd rather have a really good corner than an edge. But this is a really, really good edge.
That's the thing. Because Micah is he's the best defender in the league. There's no way in hell that I'm sitting there and saying, yeah, no, I'm holding on to Jalen. Now, if it was more of I don't know, not Max Crosby, who else would I pick here? Who the hell did the Giants just trade for off of Panthers last year? Now I'm mixing up my white edges.
Brian Burns. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
I'm talking we're in a tier.
I don't know if I would do it for JJ Watt.
Player.
I don't know if I would do it for JJ Watt because I know what I'm going to get on the run defense. And yeah, some people will be like, "Well, you pay him to rush the passer." Well, a lot of the elite edge rushers do both.
That's easy to say because JJ Watt has been retired for a couple of years.
Not JJ, TJ.
I know what you meant. Yeah, well, we're both.
Yeah. I want to do it like
We
even at that
both
elite tier.
we
I'd
both
probably
know the
still do
deal
it.
with TJ Watt. That
Yeah.
we don't have to get into that nonsense.
I will say it's but what I'm saying is that even at that elite tier, I think there's only like 3 guys I would probably make that trade for.
But he is one of them. That's the thing.
Yeah, easily.
So to me, it's like the defense. When you're saying the defense as a whole is going to take a step back, well, they really just lost Jair Alexander and they brought in Micah Parsons. That
right, but
really is all that happened.
It is an injury, so I want to agree with you up until the injury news, man. That's why I'm doing the pushback. Is really that's what scares me.
When I say this, I would adore if I was wrong.
I hope you are. Same.
That's it.
That'd be amazing.
Go next pick. We've got to get off this.
We took a long time last year too on these on the first few. Shoot.
Yeah, but we're gonna take a long time too unless we start. This is obviously a team we're talking a lot about, but let's keep.
I feel like with the division we're gonna go through talk a lot on all of them. Man, do I not know if I feel comfortable with any of these picks because I am between. I'm gonna go with the Rams. This was who I was talking about earlier. This is really hard.
Yeah.
Because again, like I don't know. So with the 49ers, we talked about their roster is so top heavy that I think a single injury is gonna once again derail their season. Like that's what I think a lot of people are relying on for them to come back. Is their best players need to all make it through. Because if you look at how they did, and specifically saying this because that's going to be dependent on how the Rams do, right? Like if the 49ers take over the division, I see the Rams being probably a couple wins less than what I have them at right now. Now also Stafford, right? So like coming back to injuries, how healthy is Matthew
This
Stafford?
Is all it is for me. I don't like hearing Matthew Stafford's hurt because when Matthew Stafford's hurt, he is really hurt.
I think they're optimistic with this, if I remember correctly, on how his outlook is coming into week 1. But that scares the hell out of me. I love their defensive line. I think their defense is probably set to take another step forward. And they already outperformed what they were looking at last year. And then you add that offense, Puka Nacua with Stafford, I think just carry you no matter what, regardless of like everything else that's already around them. And they were doing that with a bad offensive line. So just like
I love Devontae Adams here. I can't believe my best bud probably had like the 19th pick in like a 10-team league, and he was staring down some decent receiver options. You know he's going to take a receiver. He took Garrett Wilson over Devontae Adams, and I just looked at it. I was like, what could possess you to do something like that? I don't get it.
Yeah,
Devontae Adams is going to be fantasy gold in my opinion. The Rams, though, I will say, because I have these roughly ranked, I had them a good 6 or so spots lower. Because not that I don't love the Rams at their ceiling, it is entirely Stafford. I don't like hearing that Stafford could be hurt. This thing does not work as well with Garoppolo.
So the issue is we're at a bunch of teams right now where I see lower floors as well. That's where I'm coming back. There's one team that I think I could have picked, but because of certain things I didn't, and I'll tell you why when we get to them.
Well, shall I just pick them? Because I think there's only... Man, I can't imagine that we're not about to take the same teams 1, 2 here. So I'm going to take one of them. I'm going to double up on teams I think will finish ahead of the Bears in the standings and just go with the Lions because the Lions just went 15-2. Mm-hmm. And as much as we as Bears fans would like to talk ourselves into this and that, and it might all be valid, it could be valid. Mm-hmm. Let's start with really quickly. And what is really a shame is that you didn't publish the damn episodes, because this way we wouldn't have to get into the NFC North as much. Yeah. So what I've learned, and which is why we took these 2 teams chiefly before we took the Lions, is that there are just 2 teams in our division that as long as they have these coaches, they're going to be good. We know this about the Packers. We know this about the Vikings. The Lions, it could be the case, but this is the year where it's going to have to be proven, because that staff was pillaged not only by the Bears and the Jets with all the assistants they took with, but I think even the Patriots hired their D-line coach as their defensive. Like it just a insane exodus of talent.
Yep.
I'm as a neutral football fan, I'm a little excited to see what John Morton. God, I hope I got that name right. I really have no ability to bring up tabs. I believe John Morton is the name of their new offensive coordinator. I'm a little excited to see what he does because I do think it's going to look a little bit different. Honestly, there is some room for improvement, and I think it would involve Jahmyr Gibbs having the ball more often and David Montgomery having the ball a little less often. If Jameson Williams becomes a better deep threat like that, or if Jameson Williams becomes a better overall receiver, like there's room for improvement even without Ben Johnson. It's the lack of Ben Johnson offensively, and it's the lack of Frank Ragnow, which probably can't be overstated. It's probably a huge deal, bigger than anybody's willing to admit. That said, they just went 15-2 last year, and personnel-wise, they didn't actually lose that much. Like, they only did lose the center, and then on defense, they became healthier and also better than they were going into last season. The brain drain is real. I do think it can be a good thing to get some fresh voices in there. It can get stagnant at a certain point. I am not for 1 second going to say it is good to lose Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson. Their loss is absolutely our gain and the Jets' gain. But I still think we got like a 9-8 floor. We've still got like I'll say like a 14 wins ceiling that we're going percentiles here. It's probably still the best roster in the league outside of one or two other arguables if you don't take into account the quarterback, and also the quarterback is fine.
The quarterback's fine. I disagree specifically because I don't think they're a complete roster, and there's a lot of complete rosters that are really good, right? I still look at that secondary and I still have questions.
You think you can name 3 better overall rosters?
Okay, if we're not taking into account the quarterback, probably the Broncos, right? I mean, I would put the Eagles. I would put the.
Now, we just talked a lot about all the weird stuff going on with the Eagles secondary and pass rush corps. I think
I still look at what the Eagles have offensively, and it's about the same up until you remember the fact that their weapons. I think their weapons are better. Like, their wide receivers are better. Like, Amon-Ra is good. Like, he's great. Don't get me wrong. You are still expecting a step up from any of the other wide receivers, specifically, what's his name? As you mentioned, my God, you just said his name. Well, James Williams. Laporta didn't look as great last year. I'm curious.
He had some stuff going on because he really turned it on at the end. I don't know what it was, but he really turned it on at the end. I don't think we can necessarily be down on Laporta. Right.
I more so get concerned because so much of what they did with Laporta and with Amon-Ra felt like getting the middle of the field wide open, right? And it's like, how much of it was scheme versus how much of it was players. I still think Amon-Ra is a damn good wide receiver. Don't get me wrong. Not trying to like do that. More so on the Laporta side of things, right? Like, how much of that was schemed up.
I mean, Laporta coming into the year, Laporta going into his draft was exactly how you and I today would draw up our perfect tight end prospect, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I like Laporta a lot coming out. I don't think, but that 1,000-yard receiving, like, that's a lot to ask. So I'm looking at
now in his third year.
I'm trying to.
I've never drafted him in fantasy again after last goddamn year. I'm just saying, Laporta's he's a good player, man.
But right, I just think that what the Eagles have specifically with their 2 outside wide receivers, I can't take.
You could say both of them. The Eagles just won a Super Bowl on the strength of their overall roster and not necessarily how great their quarterback was. But for me, if it's overall roster, I'm really just looking at Vikings and maybe Eagles. I think everything else is just propped up to some extent by its quarterback.
Like, that's, to be fair, that's what I'm taking next because that was the team.
I know there's certain positions that.
I mean, wide receiver, maybe not as much with the Broncos, right? But like,
right, there's certain positional groups that are just. I look at it. There's not a single position group on the Lions that, especially one that truly matters, where I'm like, all of them are like, that's pretty good, and also that's pretty good. And damn, they got this guy and this guy here. It's like edge is the one with the Lions, honestly, where it's like after Hutchinson, it's a lot of just kind of guys.
Yeah,
but like
Hutchinson, damn.
You kind of only just need the guys.
Yeah.
Once you have Hutchinson, you just need the guys. When Hutchinson gets hurt for the rest of the season, then you give up 45 points to the Commanders in the divisional playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not as stoked. I mean,
it's just so hard for me to find a hole here. There's like 5 starting linebackers on this roster. It's really stacked.
Terrion Arnold needs to take a step up, and then I don't know how I feel about their nickel.
But why wouldn't he?
Because you're switching. I mean, it depends on the coaching. That's where it comes back to the coaching. Now, to be clear here.
Sure, but I'm saying it would be a little odd for me to. It would be a little odd to sit here and be like, "Well, Terrion Arnold won't take a step back." He sucks. It's like, well, no, we like Terrion Arnold.
Yeah,
he'll probably take a step up.
I'm not, and again, this is to be fair. Remember how I said every single team that I had left had questions that I was concerned about? I'm only bringing up those concerns because the Lions were one of the teams that I would have picked around this point, right? So like the Rams go Stafford. With the Lions, it's what's coaching going to do? Well, I mean, the secondary hasn't gotten that much better. They switched from DJ. Right. They switched I forgot who the hell they lost, but they basically just like they grabbed DJ Reed instead, which I think might be a little bit of an upgrade. The secondary, like Brian Branch is a stud. Kirby Joseph is a great safeties. You need corners still to cover, right? Their defensive line is better, and I know that it's going to be healthier. Who the hell am I thinking of that Ali McNeil is also going to come back.
I missed something. Like did you mention DJ Reed?
Yeah, I mentioned DJ Reed. I said specifically, like, I think that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade, but outside of that, I'm still worried about the 2 corners. I do know that they're getting back Ali McNeil, so their defensive line is going to be better. I mean, we shouldn't downplay that, bringing him back, and then also the addition of who the hell was it that they drafted this year?
Tyleik Williams, who's not even just a pure rotational player, because truly they don't have many spots that their biggest need got created after the draft. Otherwise, they would have probably drafted it. I
hear it. I'm just saying that specifically on the defense, it's going to be the corners, but your defense wasn't great last year when I got injured, right? So once you start, injuries are going to happen. Let's just say they have like 1 or 2 in the secondary. Like, let's just say like Kirby Joseph goes out. What happens then, right? Like, this offense, the reason why they went 15-2 is this
guy whose name I can't remember right now.
Huh?
It's just Brian. It's still Brian Branch, and that's that iffy guy whose name I can't remember, but he played well in the playoffs 2 years ago. There's a lot of depth here, man.
My pushback is going to be when you lose that game on offense where you're scoring in the top, like you're scoring as high as 2 pushbacks. Let me be clear. 15-2 is not going to get repeated, no matter what team you are. You're probably looking more like a 13-win team at best. If I'm going to have to project out, I'm never projecting out a 15-win team, right? It's just you're going to have regress just for the sake of fucking regressing when you're that good. The other part is that coaching brain drain, right? You had the number 1 scoring offense, and so much of what we saw that was easy buttons because of how things were set up. I get concerned about them still keeping up with the scoring when their defense looks so bad. But to be fair, again, their defense was so injured, so it's really hard for me to like.
What's the thing? At this point, it is very difficult to take not only 15-2, but like a score differential that backed up 15-2 as much as any score differential ever could.
Yeah. Which was like they were so.
I get it. We talked about it on the other thing. I'm not going into a full-fledged Lions defense, but what I am going into is you can't take a 15-2 team that was not fluky in any way last year, and I think it's borderline irresponsible to let them drop past the 8th pick, especially because between the Packers and the Lions, I have captured a playoff team with 99.9% certainty. So,
and I'm about to do the same, but this again, it goes back to all these teams that we've gotten into now. I could see anywhere from like 8 wins to 12 wins, right? Within the range that we're in at the moment. I'm not trying to say that the Lions or wheels are going to fall off. They are a very interesting experiment, right? It's
interesting no matter what happens. Yeah, who knows? The interior offensive line, the whole thing is a little in flux, and that pounding the rock's a big part of it. It's interesting. Yeah. I am rooting for the worst, but I'm taking them here because I could eat another 10 pancakes from wrong. I don't care.
All I say is like the offensive line is what really carries them. I know that we talked about their roster being complete. I still think like the Bucks are a damn good roster. I still think the Broncos are a damn good roster. I still think we talked about the Vikings. Like I could think of a few teams. So like Ravens, that's where I'm like maybe not one of the best rosters in the league. Definitely a very good roster.
It's just I'm looking at this depth chart and I don't see a weakness. I know linebacker doesn't matter, but I'm looking at these linebackers.
Right,
I'm like, how do they have all these linebackers?
Yeah, the linebackers are a lot better than I would have.
Malcolm Rodriguez is just straight up
yep.
not a starter.
Yep,
that guy's awesome.
Yeah. But it also just comes back to like, what is their strengths are going to be Jahmyr Gibbs, that offensive line, and which are great strengths to have. Don't get me wrong, and then Aiden Hutch, right?
No, I do really quickly before we move on. I have to say, I said if they lost if they lost Kirby Joseph, which would stink. I said, if Melifonwu would just step in. He was IR'd last year and released, and now he's on the Dolphins. So my bad.
Yeah.
Good player. Point is, they felt comfortable enough to do it.
Yep.
I'm not really familiar with the backup safeties, but I'm sure it'll be fine because they're pretty damn good at evaluating talent. There's one thing Holmes has proven: he doesn't draft with very good process, but he does tend to find good players.
Yeah. I will say, like the other thing that I think I'm getting at too is when you asked to say the roster point, they might be like I just pointed out a bunch of position groups where I'm like, they have very good starters. The thing though is I look at like the Bucks where they're so deep at wide receiver, that and then already have one of the best offensive lines as well. That's where I'm like, okay, but maybe they don't have as strong of strengths and like as many groups, but because of where their strengths lie, I feel way more confident. And specifically when you have a team that's got strength at wide receiver, it's hard.
Would you still say the Lions have a top, even with all their injuries, the Lions still have a top 8 offensive line at worst? I'm
not saying the offensive, but I feel like offensive line, I feel like is just as much of a strength as what I'm saying.
I feel like this may be silly, but in terms of what you want to be able to withstand, like if everything else is screwed up besides quarterback, obviously, to me, I feel like it's probably offensive line of just like the drop off that happens if you lose one guy and to be consistently good off the. I don't know.
To be fair, every single team I mentioned outside of maybe the Broncos, who have a fine offensive line, having like the Bucks probably have one of the top offensive lines in the league, as I mentioned them. The Eagles still have one of the best offensive lines in the league, as I mentioned them. So I'm not picking hairs there. I think I'm picking hairs more so at what am I saying? What am I trying to say? Why do I keep saying it? I'm doing
first. You said
what is it called?
First you said pulling hairs, and I laughed a little bit and I let it go. Now you're saying picking hairs.
I don't. What is it? What is that term called when you say the wrong malapropisms? Is that what it is?
Malapropism. Malapropism. You said splitting hair. You meant splitting hairs, and then you also meant picking nits.
Just nitpicking. Pulling teeth is eventually going to end up getting referenced.
That's much different.
I know.
Trying to get you to move on to the next subject is like pulling teeth. That's the way to fucking get to that. We get it. We both got our points out.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick. That's all. I am agreeing with your pick. I'm just saying, like when you're talking about the rosters, I could probably point out a few.
All right. Are you picking the Broncos next?
Broncos, which means I do feel like I've got a playoff team as well as you do. We're the same division, hopefully. I'd probably say I've got 2.
I never made formal picks, but I do not believe that you have a playoff team. I'm gonna say that.
Out of the Eagles, Chiefs, Vikings, and Broncos, okay.
I'm saying the Broncos. I don't believe I'm going to pick them to make the playoffs.
Really? Okay. Ooh. Let me put my defense, which is their defense. Holy shit, this defense is good.
Your defense is their defense. Their defense is their defense.
It's your defense.
I can do it better. I can do a better Jerry Seinfeld when I can hear myself. Their defense is their defense. It's not great. Whatever.
Easily, in my opinion, the best defense on paper. They're already out It is the interesting thing because I don't know if their defensive line on paper looks as good as it was last year, but I do know that their defensive line was as good as it was last year.
I'll cut you off really quick to add context. One of the best defenses in the league last year. Then they added Dre Greenlaw, one of the best linebackers in the league, or one of the better, certainly most underappreciated off-ball linebackers in the league. But he is hurt right now. I'm not sure how hurt, but he's hurt. They took Jade Barron, a tailor-made ready nickel corner in the first round, and they also added Talanoa Hufanga, off injured, but also very talented, good safety.
Okay. So really like what they built on defense. And then I think Sean Payne shut me the hell up last year. I am
that he did to both of us, yes.
Yes. I am a lot less concerned about what they're last year they were in our losers bracket, right? Like what teams are gonna lose the most money.
They went quite early. We took them so in the loser bracket, it was in reverse order. You take the worst team first, and I think the Broncos probably went fourth at worst.
Yep.
We thought collectively thought they were going to be the 29th best team in the league.
And to be fair, then Bo Nix was a huge reason, and then also not believing that Sean Payton was going to get that much out of Bo Nix.
And to be even more fair, really quickly, through the first 6 weeks in the league, we were so right about Bo Nix. He looked
so bad.
Unbelievably bad.
He looked every bit the quarterback that we were saying he was. Now
worse.
Yeah.
I couldn't have believed that he would have been that bad. He had like a game with like 63 passing yards and no attempts over 20 yards. It was wild how bad he was.
Oh, he was making some of the worst from Caleb look fine in comparison. It was so bad. And
I think probably this is still probably the Twitter era. I probably tweeted. No, there was no Twitter era last year. Whatever it was, I was like, and at least it's not Bo Nix.
We did still have. I think we both saw Twitter last year up until November, for obvious reasons. So we would have had it for that time. And that's okay. Yeah. But then they switched and they looked good. And I don't think that takes. I mean, he could take a step back because second year quarterbacks tend to sometimes, right? But I don't have I feel like they're going to still be better. Does that make sense? Like it's another year.
I hate to cut you off.
Yeah.
Game 4 last year, a 10-9 win over the New York Jets. 12 for 25. 12 no interceptions because that's never been a big issue. 12 for 25 for 60 yards.
Hell yeah.
1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, took 0 sacks, which pressure sack never a huge issue. Yep. He also carried 5 times for 3 yards. This man won an NFL game generating 63 total yards from the quarterback position. We were right for a second there.
I know we were. What is it? Game log 2024, because it's even worse when you look at some of the earlier games. But he did have interceptions early on. I was right. He had 2 interceptions in the first 2 games each.
I was going to say the criticism of Nix it was in fact that he did not throw enough interceptions. It was that he was so allergic to throwing it downfield. But what happened is that he is a coachable guy who was coached by one of the best coaches in the league. And at a certain point, something clicked where Sean Payton said, hey, just fucking throw the ball.
Yep.
And then he just fucking threw the ball. So annoying for me to sit here as a Caleb Williams guy who wants Caleb Williams to do well and at this point have more faith that I'm not going to get too much into it, but seeing that Bo Nix accepted that coaching and totally changed who he was as a quarterback over the course of one NFL season really sticks in your craw a little bit.
Yep. There's something to be said about the coaching being the reason to it. So we'll see what happens on the other side of things. But
having the coach, I'm at no point. The coach is the biggest part of it. Yep. The coach just telling him, you fucking throw the ball down the field. You're just do it. Even Drew Brees did it. And Drew Brees didn't have an arm. Just throw the ball down the field. That's clearly what happened. Because when we get to the Bengals game, I think the one right after Christmas, he is chucking it all over the place, hitting Marvin Mims for huge play. Like, it's a totally different guy. That Browns game in the snow, he was a totally different guy.
Yep. There was, I a lot better play, especially I would say after the Saints game. Definitely hit rock bottom during the game that you're talking about. Got a little bit of a jump back up. That Saints game, I think around, I've actually got it up. It's 7 week 7. After that, he definitely started playing really good and didn't really look back. And yeah, so there's a lot to be said about what their offense can be under Sean Payton with Bo Nix there. I'm just shooketh that this was the archetype of quarterback that he truly did want. And can get something out of. It's wild to me.
You know what's so funny is that when he was an analyst, a part-time analyst briefly for 1 year, he did say something about how Caleb Williams is the type of quarterback that you trade your entire draft for. I truly do go back and forth. I think about that sometimes, knowing where we are now, knowing what I think now, or what my feeling is now on how likely it is that Caleb lives up to what I hoped he could be. And I truly wonder, did Sean Payton believe that? Like, was he nobody forced him to say that. It is odd because that is so not the archetype, obviously.
Well, not the archetype, I would agree, but I think because of what you know when it comes to raw talent, and
I guess he famously tried to trade up or not trade up. He famously was going to draft Patrick Mahomes had Kansas City not traded up ahead of him.
Yeah. He was already there when they signed Drew Brees, right? They didn't have another coach before Sean Payton?
That was Sean Payton's first year.
Yep. So he signed Drew Brees from
specifically
the
targeted Drew Brees, even though they could have drafted one of 3 extremely talented quarterback prospects that everybody loved, including the one who worked out the best of the 3 of them. Any idea?
No, I can't remember who was in the draft that year. I don't know what year it is in my head. Was it 2004?
06. Jay Cutler.
06. Yeah, I don't know what year he was. I can't remember.
It's fine. But the mock drafts all had them going with Matt Leinart after Reggie Bush went first to the Texans, which none of that happened, obviously. But the mock drafts they went Leinart second, and Cutler always fell to like 12 or something like that.
And
just an interesting bit of history, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't go that far back on stuff, mostly because I also, again, did not know what year that was. Because the Chargers ended up.
Your best hope was when the Saints made to the NFC Championship that game, and that Reggie Bush was a rookie, and then maybe you'd be able to piece together what the draft was.
Yeah,
I knew it was a tough one for you. That's fine.
So yeah, no, I mean maybe he was saying that just to say it, but I also think that was, if it was when he was an analyst, that would have been when he was still at Oklahoma. Williams was, because Payne's been
it was definitely USC.
Was it the first year at USC? So with Addison, so was that his Heisman year? That would probably have a lot. That was a damn good year. Both years.
But that endorsement from Sean Payton, seemingly out of nowhere, nobody forced that out of him, was it really colored my opinion that was not necessarily the same exact opinion in a way that has always stuck with me and is going to continue sticking with me as a thing that I can possibly grasp onto, especially now that a Payton-ish disciple, I guess 2 of them are overseeing his second-year development.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just it's an interesting little wrinkle, I guess.
It is. And I think that's all going to come back down to the arm talent and the ability to throw the ball wherever you need to on the field. With accuracy, even though we've seen some accuracy drop-offs, I think always comes. We've talked about it. We don't need to relitigate some of the Caleb stuff. At least not until we talk about the Bears. Broncos wise, that's it. Really, the defense is really damn good. I could see the offense continuing to take another step, and they looked great towards the end of last year. I can't imagine them not being a wild card team, but I can also imagine them not being a wild card team because of how good the AFC is. This is where things get a little bit tricky.
Yeah. So I'll do my quick counterpoint. Even if it's not turnover based, defensive performance can be fluky.
Mm-hmm.
And they seemingly cover that up with 3 really good additions. None of them Pro Bowl caliber additions, I will point out. And in Greenlaw's case, famously tore his Achilles, kind of excitedly trying to get back onto the field in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Hufanga really only has one good season of tape, but it is a really, really good second year, I think.
Was it?
But it is a really good season of tape. And then Jade, I don't think even won the nickelback job, which is kind of weird. I assume he'll get on the field quickly, but I don't want to trust this formula again. I just need to see it again, I guess. Yeah. I need to see it again out of Bo Nix, which, like, I'm not a Bo Nix hater anymore. Like, not in the same way that I will always be a Tua Tagovailoa hater. Like, I can admit when I'm a little off or just straight up wrong. And I was definitely a little off with Bo Nix, and it's possible to prove me wrong. But, like, I just looked down this roster. I do see a very talented defense, but I see a lot of guys that really popped up out of nowhere and had absolute career seasons, including Patrick Surtain. It's like, do I really – he had a career season. Nobody's saying he's bad.
Season. He didn't pop up out of nowhere, though. I just want to make that part clear. You put those both – yeah.
There should have been a comma in there.
Yeah.
A lot of guys popped out of nowhere having career seasons. And one of the career seasons was had by Patrick Surtain. Mm-hmm. It's maybe the easier way to parse that. It's just, I don't trust that Zach Allen is once again going to be one of the best interior pass rushers in the NFL. I don't trust that Patrick Surtain is going to be by far the best corner in the NFL, to an extent that he'll win the Defensive Player of the Year.
Right, but he's been consistently like CB5 and up, right? And that's where I'm looking, like, because there are.
Yeah, I'm not. The Surtain point is definitely the flimsiest. I'm just saying, It was like a dream season defensively. Like, every single one of these guys was better than they've ever been, including Surtain. Of course, Surtain's going to remain good. But I'm saying, like, I don't know that I'm going to trust this formula again, even with the reinforcements. Like, I don't really see a big weakness, but also I don't look at Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper and think to myself, this is not a team in need of like a couple more edge rushers to like truly be the best defense again in the NFL. Okay. I just see enough flaws, and maybe a part of this is like my residual, like, I can admit when I'm wrong, but also like I hope I'm not, and it turns out they suck again.
Right, but I do think you look at Vance Joseph and what Vance Joseph's done in his career. I think it comes back. Remember we were talking about the best like pairings of coaching, defense and offense. This would be up there. I'm a little unclear as to what Vance Joseph's deal is, if I'm being honest. I don't know. It's probably right. I guess I just don't know his whole thing besides just like blitzing. I don't know if I can fully get into like what it schematically it is. I haven't studied the Broncos defense schematically, right? And I've never really paid all too much attention to Vance Joseph, even though I know he's always been a consistently good defensive coordinator. Like even with the Cardinals, with what little they had, he was still able to like make that defense look good for a little bit, right? And that was with a roster with the Cardinals that I believe were not a very strong defense, because I think that's around the time they fired their GM. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this roster is deteriorating incredibly fast, but they built up, was it 2020 that they had one of the worst defenses, and then they bounced back incredibly quickly with Vance Joseph at the helm. So he's shown enough consistency that with the pieces that they've had, I'm not that worried that they won't be. It might be like what we were talking about when we were talking about we were just talking about a defense that might fall back, right? But the coaching, when we were talking about the pairing of coaching, and no.
Oh, the Vikings kind of.
No, Vikings we thought would take a step up. I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing things. We've been on for a bit.
The Packers, I guess.
Packers. Thank you. No, because we don't have the coach. Anyway, Vance Joseph, I think, gives me a lot of faith on top of what the roster has. And then you've got the coaching with Sean Payne. I think that's where the faith comes in. But I can see, and again, this is the AFC West. God knows what's going to end up happening with the teams basically. That division might end up going at each other a lot harder than we think. Yeah.
We're going so slowly that this is almost certainly going to have to be a two-parter. I don't have that much time left.
All right, well, let's
all right, let's just go on quickly. Yep. I will say Vance Joseph, weird cuck energy out of him. head coach, and then you agree to be the same team's defensive coordinator 3 years later. That's weird.
That's right.
I think even I'd have too much pride for that, and I in a million years would never be a defensive coach, but an NFL coach. It probably has, but it's in the modern era. I can't think of another example. Wade Phillips maybe did it once. I don't know.
Yep.
Just because Wade Phillips is around so long, but in that span of time, that is so odd.
Yeah, well, it was 3 years later, something like that. 4 years later, like it basically went to the Cardinals and came back.
I'm gonna go Bengals. Self-explanatory. Don't need to stay on this too much. You could have thoughts if you want to, but the gang is back. They got Shamar Stewart in the house. My MVP pick this year is going to be Burrow. I think he's up. I think the offensive conditions and frankly the defensive conditions are still aligned for it. I think he arguably deserved it last year, but the team just wasn't good enough.
If they went to the playoffs, they should have gotten it. It's just one of those things where it's like if you don't make the playoffs, you're just automatically disqualified. Which is
I'm very excited to have Burrow as my quarterback in 2 fantasy leagues. Yeah, not much more to get into. What do you think of the pick, really quick?
It's the defense that scares me. The offense. Okay, here, let me put it to you like this: how bad does how good does the defense need to be for if the offense is like the Lions last year? They're one of the best offenses by far, right? They were close last year, right? One of the best offenses by far. But your defense sucks ass. How bad do you think you need to be to make the playoffs? Like how bad? Because I think
I think exactly the same as last year. For one, because the Bengals were essentially a playoff team. They missed it by a tiebreaker or 1 game, and if you play that whole season all over again with the same exact defensive skill level, same exact offensive skill level, they will make the playoffs. I believe 9 times out of 10.
Right, but if Trey Hendrickson isn't going to be playing, right? I don't think they've got.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
It's done. It is done. He will be playing.
Right.
Yes.
Did they agree on a contract? Did they agree on a contract?
Oh, a 1-year contract.
Oh, yes. Right. That's right. It was I know this. Yeah. No. I mean, I personally think they'll be like the 32nd best. They'll be 32nd at defense. I don't think they'll make it. It's specific, even though that offense is very good. That defense gives me no. What's it called? Gives me absolutely. No confidence.
I'll say this: I'm excited as a Notre Dame. I'm excited as a Notre Dame fan. Already own one, by the way. But tough game, good game. Don't think it should hurt them too much. I'm excited as a Notre Dame fan to see what L. Golden does, because I'm not. He was, a man-heavy guy who trusts his corners, but also his corners are very worth trusting at Notre Dame. But as is the case with Chuck Hafley at Boston College. You can't really take college tendencies and assign it to a coordinator in the NFL. So I'm excited to see what he does. I don't think Uncle Lou was a huge problem for them last year, but I'm excited to see the shakeup. I think just any sort of shakeup has got to invigorate them to the point where they could at least show any sign of life instead of being the absolute worst defense. Just for era almost of all time. So
they've invested so much on that defense too. That's the worst part. Is like, dude, come on. You eventually need to see results. Considering
I like Shamar Stewart as a steadying presence, not necessarily a pass rusher. I like Chris Jenkins in the second year, maybe giving them some better snaps on the interior. I'm never going to quit Cam Taylor-Britt. I'm never going to do that. So there's just guys that I feel like there's definitely juice to be squeezed and made into competency. And the offense is, I don't think it would be wrong to expect that they could be the best in the NFL this year. So let's go. I don't know. I'm at least excited to be emotionally invested in them. They're definitely my favorite team other than the Bears.
Yeah, I hope you're right because they're one of my favorite teams as well. Burrow was fun as hell to watch, and that offense is still gonna. I have no pushback. That offense might be the Lions of last year. Year. So my next pick is going to be. I just had one that I was Bucks. I'm just gonna go with the Bucks. I already talked them up. I think
that's probably gonna be my next one. Yeah.
Yep. I already talked them up. I think in that division, especially, not a weak division, as weak as it was before, but not a strong one. I could see them or the Falcons coming out of it and being up there. I could see I could see their four
Panthers
being
a
with the
fun
Panthers.
potential sleeper in the same
Yeah.
way that the Broncos and Commanders, shocked us last year.
Exactly. So I can see all of the teams being like 6 or 7 wins and up, right? But not anything where it's like the AFC or the NFC, AFC West or the like NFC North, or even the NFC West too could get there, except maybe one team.
Yeah.
That said, they're just I already talked about what their roster was like. It makes this really, really easy for me. Like they have one of the best offensive lines in the league. They have fantastic weapons. I really like Emeka Ibuka coming out. Like if you're gonna get a guy, and you don't even need to he's with Godwin injured. You don't even need to rush Godwin back from injury. Ibuka, I think, is one of those all around just well-rounded wide receivers. Would have loved him on the Bears, for instance, if we had the need for it, right? I don't know. Everything considered, with where their defense is probably going to be at, it really just comes down to Baker just needs to continue making strides with them, and then also offensive coordinator, right? We'll see what ends up happening on their offense after.
Yeah, this is a little bit of the Lions thing.
Yep.
Where they survived one offensive coordinator change. Twice in a row have they gotten a head coach job. How many could we possibly cycle through? Yep. It's at some point, I believe in Baker at this point. I've never actually really not believed in Baker. When Baker was bad, he had a shoulder injury. Right. Baker is just a good quarterback. I think we all just need to accept it and also enjoy because Baker's a pleasure to watch.
He's fun to watch, but he can be volatile even without the injuries. I will say that.
Sure,
but
sure.
I've always believed in Baker. I thought it was stupid, like the Browns.
But also, I certainly like the way he texts. If we're talking honorable or whatever you want to, he's like that.
But yeah, he thinks he's more athletic than he is. So he tries to escape a little bit more than
he tries to be dishonorable on occasion. But when it comes down to it, he'll stand in there and he'll fire a strike.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not even so much like were Liam Cohen and Dave Canales that good. It's like, oh, now we got to learn another fucking guy. It's like, how many times can you do that over and over with a non-elite quarterback and a non-elite, whatever, and certainly a non-elite head coach, and keep going. That's tough.
This is where I'm not 100% sure. Did they hire from within again? Because Liam Cohen was.
I believe this was the quarterback coach. I am blanking on the gentleman's name. Is a very fun name.
Bucks I think the system is the same. It was the same. It was the same thing with when they brought on Liam Cohen. You're keeping the system the same.
Josh Grizzard, pass game coordinator. Josh Grizzard.
Yeah. So you're hoping that that's consistency, and I will say that Dave Canales, I think, proved himself as a good. I mean, with what we were saying from Bryce Young at the end of last year, we'll see. Obviously, you need multiple years to really prove yourself, but I think he showed hey, he was a damn good coach that they lost, but they were able to bring in Liam Cohen. We'll see if Liam Cohen can also show that.
Oh, whether the Peter principle applies here. Liam Cohen is a fantastic coordinator. He made me believe in Will Levis in a way that nobody should believe in Will Levis when he was the coordinator at Kentucky. He's a fantastic coordinator. I have no doubt about that. I also, I guess I just really, really quickly want to point out something about Emeka Ibuka. I just drafted him, and I believe the 6th round. I reached on him by a round and a half just to make sure I can get that guy, especially because I paired it with Rashee Rice. And in my mind, it's like once Godwin comes back, I got Rashee Rice come back. I was a big fan of my strategy there.
You did the same thing Sophia did. Sorry, go on.
Very nice. That said, everything nice we could say about Ibuka, we would say even nicer about Rome Odunze last year. So let's hope Josh Grizzard is a better coach than Waldron, which he is. I mean, just by default, he is. But just saying, Polish could play everything, but it's like, but does he can he
It's funny that so much of that coaching staff, I don't know if Grizzard did, but like Liam Cohen and Canals both came from the Seahawks over to the Bucks. And it's like, well, who helped Gino more? Going on. So we've got your pick next. I don't know if you got any other pushback, how you feel about that, but
no, we got to go for this. Let me pull up my notes at. I don't feel like I need to pull the trigger on these guys yet. I think we have absolutely officially reached the point where almost nothing would surprise me.
We haven't talked about one team that I'm sure people might be surprised about. And they're gonna probably
I'm gonna take the top team on my list, and as a whammy avoider, because I think there's a ceiling or a floor, even if the ceiling could be questioned with some injuries. I'm gonna take the 49ers.
Okay.
The team that because of Stafford, I'm going to pick in the West. Yeah, there's a lot of people in that depth chart that I look at and I say, who the fuck is this? But also I said that about, like, for example, not literally because I didn't know who he was, but like Deandre Lenore, and he turned out to be good, and Renato Green turned out to be good last year.
Mm-hmm.
I do really trust John Lynch to. I should rephrase. I trust Kyle Shanahan to tell John Lynch who he thinks is good and who to draft in the middle rounds, even if I don't know who they are. They are healthier than last year. Granted, McCaffrey is already fucking up my fantasy team by being questionable and not practicing today. But the whole thing, they still have star players. I think they can weather it. And again, I find it hard to believe that the Shanny and Brock Purdy thing that has proven to work is going to continue to is going to not work twice in a row. I feel like this is going to be a good team this time around.
No,
Shanny and Brock Purdy equals good. That is still a truism in my mind.
You and I litigated their roster in chat where I think mentioned they're way too top heavy, and seeing them take the step back that they did specifically this year was a smart move. I think they're a year late on that. And I remember that was, I think when I said they were a year late on that, you would say it can't be that bad. And that's when you looked and you're like, I don't know any of these. Like, okay, I just looked at, I don't know some of these players. That is where I get back to. They are a couple injuries away from losing 11 games like they lost last year. I would disagree. I'd almost say their ceiling is higher because if everybody stays healthy and those top guys perform, they'll win a bunch of games, but their floor is incredibly low. Cause like you lose Trent Williams and Christian McCaffrey goes out again. He's been injured so many times in his career. It sounds like he's already dealing with something, right? That's what made their offense not click. Now you also don't have Debo, and you're hoping that IU comes back in like week 7. Granted, I like their wide receiver depth. That's actually like not a thing that I'm concerned about, but you have lost Debo and IU still not back. So you lose McCaffrey and Trent Williams again, like those two go down, and I don't think.
Oh, and did you hear the news about speaking of receiver depth, Ricky Pearsall? He got shot again.
No, he didn't.
No, but wouldn't that be weird?
I was like, you're fucking with me, because that would be wild. But
they do have, you know, good omen, by the way. The 2 players in the NFL that have been shot are now on their team.
Let's go.
That's a good omen.
Yeah. Who's the second?
Brian Robinson, the running.
Right.
They just traded for. And then I very smartly, I'm not one to handcuff in fantasy. I actually prefer to steal other people's handcuffs. But when I had McCaffrey, I was like, I gotta overdraft Brian Robinson. We cannot be messing with this.
That's fair. Those would be that's my only criticism. That's why I feel like Rams rely on Stafford. This is going to be an interesting division.
It's a totally fair handcuff. I don't like that Malik Mustafa's already hurt, because now I'm looking at their safety depth chart and I'm like looking one guy deep and I'm seeing like a career special teamer and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't like it, but the top of it's good. And I think we have to acknowledge maybe 2 things. They were unlucky to be as bad as they were last year. They were bad in 1-score games. they did lose like a 10-point lead in the last 3 minutes early in the season to the Rams, for example. Like weird stuff happened to them.
Yep.
And weird stuff happened to Kevin O'Connor 2 seasons ago. I think the same grace we extended to LaFleur and O'Connor, we still have to extend to Shanahan. It's all the same stuff, and that's why, again, maybe there's a little limit on the ceiling. Maybe this is a wild card team that's one and done, but I think there's a floor, and I think it's above what they did last season. I think last season is a real outlier of what Shanahan would realistically produce as long as he has a quarterback.
So that's my big issue, though, is that it's not like Shanny's fantastic. I wouldn't even give any of the blame to Shanny. It's more so without the top talent that they have, the few pieces of top talent that they have, all blue chippers, right? Maybe some purple. They have a lot of red chips at best, right? The talent is he's being asked to make chicken salad out of chicken shit at a certain point. That's what concerns me. Like, their offensive line has been absolute garbage over the past couple years.
That's like strong.
No, it's been garbage, but he's hidden garbage, man. He's done a great job hiding garbage. And that's kind of where I come back.
It goes pretty poorly when Trent Williams doesn't play, but when he doesn't have to chip, I don't feel like it hasn't been very good.
Like there's a lot of times Brock Purdy was actually creating last year. Like, as much as people want to give Brock Purdy that, like, oh, you don't do much outside of the play when the play.
I'm done criticizing Purdy. I like Purdy.
Yeah.
I like Purdy. I don't like him as much as Jalen Hurts. We're in two slightly different tiers here.
Yep.
Slightly different tiers here, but I like Purdy. I've given it up. Purdy's great. Purdy's a good quarterback.
That would be my pushback. Is like the moment you lose Trent Williams, it's a big deal. Not even like Christian McCaffrey, just Trent Williams alone, it's a big deal because you don't have any pieces on that offensive line.
And McCaffrey and Fred Warner and like totally and Nick Bosa probably like totally. The slope is very slippery, but And
it's been degrading since the Trey Lance.
And we're about to find out if Brandon Ayuk is involved in that. I know, I get it. It's I
get it. Let's move on. I'm gonna go ahead.
Ooh, I hope you don't steal my pick.
Is it the? God, I hate myself. I'm between 3. And I know whoever I pick right now, the one that I don't pick is probably your pick. Or one of the two is going to be your pick. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take somebody in a division we haven't yet picked instead. And 2 of the teams that I'm between right now are in that same division. And I just love Travis Hunter so goddamn much. I'm going to go ahead and take the Jaguars because I do like a lot of what
not on my radar at this point.
Really?
They were about 10 down.
Wow.
I'm gonna let you talk. I agree with it. They're maybe even my AFC South pick, but I think in terms of risk management, that was a little.
It's a risky pick. It's a risky pick, and here's the thing: there's another team in there that I think is safer. Another team that I'm curious because I think this is gonna. I wonder if this is gonna be your pick. I worry because of other reasons on what I've currently picked as to why I stayed away from them. There are 2 teams in this division at least. So not talking about the team that I was just talking about. I can't wait till we get to them. There are 2 teams in this division that I am between. And I'm going to go with the Jags specifically because while I really do like the Texans and I like CJ Stroud, there's a lot that the Jaguars did where I am feeling a lot of good vibes that I don't think with a healthy Trevor Lawrence, I just think T-Lock gets a lot of crap, man. I don't know. I'm going to wait for you to get back.
Obviously, I'm with you on T-Lock.
Yeah, like he got injured that one year that he was having an MVP season, and then he was played like crap with a high ankle sprain because he can't plant and throw. Like last year, they didn't have all that much. I do think that they've done enough that with T-Law having both BJT, who I absolutely fucking love, And I also love Travis Hunter, and everything I'm hearing out from camp is great. They're even playing him both ways, which is shocking. And I know he's got a little nicked up, but I think he's good to go for week 1. I think that with where they were already at, and with a better coach, they're going to take that step up. And now without, I don't know. I'm just feeling the vibes. I'm feeling the vibes of the Jags. I will admit that the Texans were the other team in this division that I was between. And it's difficult because that offensive line with the Texans gives me no faith. They had already gave Stroud so many issues, and we'll talk about them when we get to them. But that's specifically why. Whereas, I'm feeling the good vibes in one way. There are certain vibes with the Texans, or at least not vibes. I should say the moves that the Texans made me want to go with the vibes that the Jags give me.
What do you as strictly a wide receiver next year? Just a 3 frame it, because I don't know. It's hard for me to say how much I agree with it. I look at the roster. I'm not blown away. I think the Titans have a better roster.
You're at the 17th, but what pick are we on? I'm looking at my. You know what I keep doing? I keep
15.
Looking.
That was 15. We're fine. I'm not blown away by the roster, but I definitely the vibes I won't argue are good to some extent. I guess I have 2 thoughts. First of all, as strictly a wide receiver, would you rather have for this upcoming year, or maybe forever? You can answer both. Would you rather have Travis Hunter or Emeka Egbuka?
For this year, probably Egbuka. I think forever it would be Travis Hunter.
As strictly a receiver, I think I'm going Egbuka right now forever.
I think that
Hunter is still a way better prospect for me. That's not got nothing to do with anything. But for me, I think it's Egbuka.
I have to disagree specifically because I do think he's a better, Travis Hunter is just a better athlete, but on top of that, his ball tracking and his ability to play the ball, and I'm not even just talking high point, just everything about how he attacks the ball in the air it's as a corner, it was wide receiver esque already.
It's nice, but it does come in a strange frame, right? That's like you're trying to project Antonio Brown onto him to some extent.
Right, but I mean, Tank Dell too was a strange frame when you want to talk about strange frame, right? Still does very well. I trust the fact that if somebody can go up and contort in the air the way that he can to get the ball and attacks the ball with late hands in such a beautiful way and tracks it in such a great way, all I need then is, he's already a fantastic athlete. I just need to show him, better route running. He was already a top 3 wide receiver last year. So it's not like he wasn't already producing, even though he's still raw. I have way less concerns throughout the career than I would maybe rookie year coming out as a little bit raw at the position in comparison to Egbuka, who is incredibly polished, to be fair.
That's fair. Okay. I have maybe one more little thing we can talk about the Jaguars. I had a big thing this offseason, before I really got into Ben Johnson necessarily, of just don't hire a fucking dweeb. Put me in the room and make sure it's not a corny dweeb. You know where I'm going with this.
Duval! Yes, I
do. No. Duval.
That's a better way of doing it. I gave him too much credit. There's some concern there. I do like him as an offensive coordinator, so I'm hoping that shows out. It's going to be interesting seeing how dweeb leader of man leads men, right? That's what you do need to be able to do as a head coach. We'll see. Those are the vibes that are weird. I will say that. I think the vibes that I get that are good is just seeing a lot of the videos of BJT, Travis Hunter, and Trevor Lawrence doing a lot of workouts on their own and watching those. It's been fun. So, yeah.
Like I said, I think they're probably my pick, but I don't feel good about it. The Texans definitely have a better roster in my opinion, but
I would agree there. It just comes down.
There's some stuff going there, and are we going to take the Texans as the vibes continue to get worse, or the Jaguars as the vibes? Vibes are important here, man. They just are.
Vibes are important, but I'm also going to just throw out the holes that the Texans have are scary, and then the injuries that they are going to have to wait through in the beginning of the season at wide receiver are also kind of concerning. So we'll see.
All right, I'm going to jump on a team that neither of us necessarily believes in too much, and I think this is a theme that I am defaulting a little bit to last year, because of the possibility that I'm wrong, and you're taking a couple more swings than I am, but I'm going to take the Commanders.
That was the team that I've been waiting to talk about that I was between as a third team, which I mean I made it pretty obvious so that you knew you should probably pick them. I do really want to.
I did not know that. I'm sorry I keep getting up. You have plenty of thoughts. Get them out, and then we'll move on.
Okay. The reason why it has nothing to do with you. It's funny because we talked about Bo Nix needing to show up. Bo Nix and Sean Payton needing to show it again. And obviously we've said the same thing about Jane Daniels and wow, I am blanking on their Kingsbury. We've said the same thing about them too, but it is actually way less about that than it is about their total roster. I have way more confidence in them than I do, even though I was talking about the confidence I have in Sean Payton and Bo Nix to do it again. I have way more confidence in Jaden Daniels, at least, if not Kingsbury, right? Like what Jaden Daniels showed me last year was just insanely good. We'll see. Obviously, I always want a quarterback to prove it. It's the rest of the roster. It is an old roster with a lot more holes than people realize. And that's what scares me. And granted, a division that I don't think is very strong, although the Cowboys already showed that they're a little bit better than, and maybe that's painting a little bit. The reason I stayed away from them over the Jaguars was I already took the Eagles. I already have two teams in the same division. I didn't want to take the Commies again right then and there. I actually have been holding off on taking the Commies the last two picks because of that reason. I want to start diversifying.
Yeah. It just got to a point. It got to a point. What if we're wrong? Because I'm with you. Yeah. But also, I'm just a hater. I'm a Jaden Daniels hater. I do rank him. I don't know if I say Stafford is 7th. I probably have Daniels like 9th. I probably put Dak in between. So I'm not like a mega hater.
Yeah.
But I think most people would put Daniels like 6th already at this point. Something like that. I don't think
I've seen him all that much at 6 from like non-commies fans.
I do believe literally in the Athletic article that you sent me, I do believe he was ranked 6th by the executives. I don't know what the whole thing is, but there's the obvious top 5. Maybe then he must have been ahead of Justin Herbert. So yeah, okay. Anyway, I'm going to argue with myself. I'm going to argue briefly with myself. I really, really need to see it again out of Kingsbury and Daniels. I think teams are going to get better at defending this. I don't think this is super hard to figure out. But this is a bet that Kingsbury has another wrinkle in him, because I wouldn't have bet that he had the wrinkle in him they had last year. But he ended up with a crazy diversified run game, doing things that, I'm not a run game connoisseur, but like the things he was doing were stuff that like I literally don't recall seeing at any level in the NFL.
It was fun. His run game was fun to watch.
It was really, really cool. So
his screen game was fun to watch too.
This to me has to be a bet on knowing to zig before everybody else zigs, or knowing whatever.
I will
say zagging in this. I guess you zag before everybody else catches on to the fact that you've already zagged.
With the Cardinals, I guess. With the Cardinals, he didn't show a propensity to do that, and I'm wondering how much of what he showed was because he spent a year with Lincoln Riley, or 2 years, or however long it was, at USC. And if he has the ability to, actually, that's kind of why when I framed the Jaden Daniels, I have more like faith in Jaden Daniels, and maybe Kingsbury too. That's why I kind of
that's the thing. So like Kingsbury did change, not in the exact ways that people hoped he would change, but in other fun ways that led to an NFC Championship berth. The quarterback, again, I'm a hater, but I still admit he's a top 10 quarterback.
Yep. Just damn good.
The other thing is, so the age is brought up as the most common reason that people think they're going to regress. the players that matter are not that old. The roster as a whole is old, but like we're talking like Bobby Wagner at middle linebacker is super old. We're talking Zach Ertz at tight end is super old. It's not. It is still generally old, and there's other examples that are Marshawn Lattimore is probably 30, 31. Like that's not, you don't want that.
Well, Laremy Tunsil's coming off of a really bad year. Not in I believe
we've already kind of dispelled this.
Yeah.
He had a fine year as a pass blocker. It was just a very bad year as a run blocker.
That's what I was gonna say, as a run blocker. And you've relied on a pretty fun run game. It's gonna be interesting seeing what happens another year later.
But you did so the weak points of the offensive line were on the interior, and what the commies seemed to do was take their tackles and move them in and get 2 new tackles. And one of the tackles, in fairness, is a fine run blocking rookie at right tackle and Josh Connerly. So I'm arguing against myself because there's a reason we let this drop to 16. We took Commanders up the fucking after the fucking Jaguars, for God's sake. But
okay, to be fair,
there's certainly many. Well, that's no excuse.
But no, I don't want to double up.
They were both the NFC Championship game last year. You can take them both.
Yeah, but okay, fine. Go on.
I'm just saying, I'm arguing against myself a little bit here. Is the point? But it's not crazy to see a world in which the Commanders are not only good but overtake the Eagles. It requires another step out of Jaden Daniels, which is totally possible because we didn't think that this was going to happen. Let alone who knows where sky's the limit. I'm happy to get him here. Is the point. Now you pick.
I just don't like the roster in general, let alone the old part.
We both looked at the roster when we discussed this on a whole episode that is lost to time, and we did not like the roster. The roster is surprisingly bad. I was kind of shocked of how little that I liked.
I wouldn't pick them down here specifically because of Jaden Daniels. I would have picked them
good
earlier had I not. So that I want to be clear, it's not Jaden Daniels hate. I would have picked them before the Bucs had it not been the fact that I had the Eagles. I just didn't want to double up.
They were definitely an ascending team that got better and better and made it to the NFC Championship game in a fluky way. Obviously, the Lions would have blown the shit out of them with a defense that was not down to their practice squad. But good team. That's good team last year, and could be a good team again this year. And it's not like any of these other guys are really, any of these other teams are really keeping me from wanting to take them.
So on that note, the other team that I obviously had was the Texans because I talked about them with the Jags. I don't want to double up on that division specifically, so I'm gonna stay away from it. So go ahead and take them when you want to. Nick, you can know that. In a few picks, maybe I'll end up grabbing them.
Yeah, don't say that.
Oh God, I don't want to. I'm looking at the teams that I have at the top right now, and it's really sad because it's like, man, I have to make a decision on what division I feel most confident about having a lot of teams in there. Obviously, we've already picked 3 NFC North teams.
Can I give you a slight hint? Let's think more in terms of, since we've already taken all the teams that we think are going to make the playoffs, let's think more in terms of like risk management, obviously. Like just take a team that you think is good. Or you can see a path for that has a floor.
Most of these teams are at least like, okay, let me tell you what I'm thinking through. I'm looking at the Chargers right now. The thing that sucks there is I would have the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers. That is 3 teams out of 1 division. That's kind of dumb on risk part, but do I like their roster? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I like their coaching. I think the floor is high. So I'm with you on that. I'm going to stay, but I can't. And like the Texans, do I really want to take both the Jags and the Texans? I'm just going to take the Texans. Screw it. I'm taking the Texans. We're going to double up. Fuck it. Because the other team that I have, there's confidence, but there isn't confidence. It's what division?
You're going to be allowed to take the other team in a second. Do you have any brief thoughts on the Texans? There's not much to say. They somehow made their offensive line worse. That was weird.
Yes, and it was already bad, and that's what scares me with them. It has nothing to do with Stroud. I like their weapons when their weapons are healthy. Is Nico Collins starting this season? He's good, right? Tank Dell is still injured though, and he's going to take a bit to come back.
Dell is straight up out for the year. We're looking at Nico Collins, Christian Kirk, I believe, just got hurt. So now we're relying.
I was gonna say somebody picked up Dell in one of my fantasy leagues alpha. So I figured he's coming back. If he's out for the year, that's funny.
I think he's coming back. If he's coming back, I'm fucking picking up in my keeper league.
Yeah, I think somebody stashed him the same way that I'm stashing a few guys going.
What were you saying? That was a bad injury.
Yeah.
Their top two is supposed to be Nico Collins and Christian Kirk, which Kirk was I thought a respectable pickup, but Kirk is currently hurt. So now we're relying on several Iowa State boys in some combination of Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, and the somewhat veteran Xavier Hutchinson. So it's not a great mix at 2-3. And the offensive line is worse. But the defense is pretty nasty.
That is a big thing.
And D'Amico Ryans is in charge, so there's no you don't have to worry about any coordinator churn or any sort of churn whatsoever. It's D'Amico Ryans is in charge, and he gets a lot out of what never really looks on paper to be that much, but he's gotten a lot out of it twice in Houston and several times in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. We don't have to stay on them. My
last point is it's the thing that's hard about talking about their rosters because I say the rosters honestly does not look very good, but the defense does look great, and they do have CJ Stroud. It's one of those things where it's like you got Nico Collins and CJ Stroud, a top tier wide receiver, a damn good quarterback, and a really good defense. Typically, you'd say, hey, that team should be really good. That's why I'm going to take that risk. But that offensive line is so.
I will say this because I'm reminded of the 2010, 2011, 2012 Bears. When Jay Cutler was running for his life. Mm-hmm. But still, overall, the Bears' offense was functional when Jay Cutler was there, for the most part. Not always, but for the most part, it was functional and sometimes even fun, explosive. The Bears slowly but surely drafted or tried to address the offensive line. They grabbed Karimi in the first round to play right tackle, and in theory, that seemed like that was going to work, and it didn't, obviously. But then they moved stuff around and eventually got the offensive line to a fairly acceptable point within 3 years. They also got Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, and we went in that direction. What I would propose, and what I don't mind so much about what the Texans did, is they said almost the exact opposite, and almost what I'd wish the Bears had done is well, we just saw that Jay Cutler is pretty good at playing without any weapons or any quarterback. Our offense has a hard floor. Let's make the defense so goddamn good they can't be beaten. That is literally what I was thinking when I was 20 years old. And to this day, I really wish I had seen what that had looked like. Probably not great, but I wish I had seen what it looked like. And it almost seems like that's what the Texans are like. Now let's see what it looks like.
I will say, though, that how much of that was specifically because you switch off of Lovey and you switch over to Trustman, right?
Oh no, I'm 2012 is Lovey's last year. I'm cutting off at that point. But we had gotten Marshall and Alshon in for Tice to be the coordinator with Lovey as the head coach. Still,
right, we went 10-6 that year, though. It wasn't like it was bad. I don't think the defense was even that bad either.
That was good, and the year before was even better. But it was even better until Cutler got hurt.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's do you incrementally improve the offensive line? Because the offensive line, we all agree, sucks. Do you incrementally improve it so that it's a little bit better? Or do you just say, well, fuck it. He's good behind a bad offensive line, so let's get everything else good. So we get some explosive plays. So we get explosive defensive plays. The offensive line is just going to suck.
How much better? To be fair, though, okay, so CJ Stroud has had 3 years behind, I think, not great offensive lines. The first year, his rookie year, he looked back. He was doing we talked about Love. Him and Love were doing kind of the same thing when it came to being able to create space in muddy pockets. Last year, though, he took a massive step back. And I think that had to do with the degradation at the offensive line. So this isn't yes, there was a floor, and I think Stroud got a lot of stuff for the step back when it was the offensive line and the weapons getting injured that hurt him, and it was less him. you're now taking another step back, right, on that. So how much can he? It's like looking at Patrick Mahomes and saying, well, you don't need weapons, right? You've been doing well without weapons.
Is there a football game on right now?
Oh shoot, there is.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's they have a Friday night game. It's the Chiefs and fuck, I forgot about that.
Chiefs are playing somebody.
Chargers, Chiefs and Chargers.
Okay, well, without seeing what's happening in the game, I'm taking the Chargers next. The Chargers are at the top of my list. I think that there's a good chance they're going to be overtaken by the Raiders. I really, really, really hate the Rashawn Slater injury. I think that thing functioned at its optimal state with Slater, but I also really like the juice they had with Amari and Hampton, and that's my entire breakdown of the Chargers.
I like the Chargers pick. Really to wrap up the Texans point, all I'm saying is like you're taking an extra step back at the offensive line when he's already seen what that did. We'll see what the fuck happens when you take another one. On the note of the Chargers, I really like the Chargers. They are currently winning 10-3.
What channel is it on?
It is on. I have it on NFL Network.
NFL Network.
Because I have the YouTube shit. YouTube TV is what's it called? What else are they on? Let's see.
It's just not gonna. God damn it! This sucks.
Yeah,
live on the pod, I see there's an NFL game happening. I'm drinking, I'm having fun. I can watch it, and I'm behind a damn.
You're unable to watch it.
I can't control. I don't have. I have Xfinity Stream in here. I just don't know what actual channel it's on.
It says NFL Network from me.
No, it's not NFL Network. That's the problem.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Live. I think I'm watching it on. It says NFL Network because I'm watching it on NFL Sunday Ticket. I'll tell you in a second. But let me see what it's actually streaming on instead. Search Chiefs. Let me just finish up my point on the
remote is fucking bullshit. I'm so mad at this shit. Finish your point.
NFL on YouTube TV. What the fuck? Are they not on an actual channel? Oh yeah, it's NFL Network. It says, dude. What channel is the? Anyway, my point with the Chargers is the reason why I stayed away. I was between them and the Texans. I stayed away from them because I can't have the Broncos, the Chiefs, and the Chargers. So like,
what channel is the Chiefs game on? It's just YouTube TV. That's just the fucking answer. What are you talking about?
Chargers.
This is NFL relevant. Don't put shit on YouTube TV exclusively. Are you out of your fucking minds?
Yeah, it's where to stream it. It's I'm
sure if I just get the YouTube app, it's
CBS Sports app.
CBS Sports app. What do you?
I think you can watch it on YouTube itself.
Adam, talk about the thing you want to talk about. I got it. It's just the YouTube app.
Yeah, it's on YouTube itself. Interesting that okay.
I don't know how we're still talking about Texans, but talk about
No. I already said the thing with the Texans. The Chargers were on. The only reason I stayed away from them specifically is because I already have two teams from the AFC West. As again comes back to why I stay away from the commies. Like,
yeah.
Except
and also we both basically picked the Raiders over them. This is risk management. They made the playoffs last year. They are a good team. Yep. There is probably a floor. Harbaugh's a very good coach. I'm not
just
going to overthink it. I also don't want to give too much commentary on them. They're literally on TV right now, and I haven't been watching them, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, Chargers. Herbert's like QB5. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, easily. There's no argument in the other direction besides Stafford for me. It's like if you just love what Stafford does at his best so much, I'm willing to allow you to put him 5. But otherwise, it's just Herbert.
Yeah, but coming back to like the Hurts love, the Jaden Daniels love, stuff like that, a lot of them will want to put them above Herbert. And Jaden Daniels, I can understand. Yeah, Jaden Daniels, I can kind of understand the argument with what we saw his rookie year. If he does that again, I could kind of see it. Right? If he repeats what he did last year, I can see that. At least.
No, but Justin Herbert though.
Justin Herbert's the thing that people I think miss is how little Justin Herbert has had around him up until last year. Like, my God, if you watched what the Chargers had 2 years ago with the injuries that they had, it's like the dude is like coming back to chicken salad out of chicken shit. That man is like a chef with chicken shit.
I'm glad you have the Chiefs. I'm glad you have the Chiefs. How do they have 3 points? There's 4 minutes left in this half. I'm glad you have the Chiefs. Fuck everything I said.
Or Rasheed Rice will come back and then we'll start winning.
What the hell, man? 3 points against the Chargers?
Chargers are...
Asante Samuel just died mid-career, and we're still doing this?
I'm trying to remember what they have on defense. Jeez.
Well, they have Cam Hart, who is an excellent, excellent corner from the greatest university in the world, but still, come on.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't have at this, especially what is this pick?
We got a lightning round a little bit. We don't have to search for things to say. Let's go.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go with the Falcons.
Love it. Third on my list, but
defensive line,
my personal list.
Major concern. I know they doubled up on it, but I don't like who they picked with the doubling up on it. It's like,
is it that you don't like who they picked, or you didn't like? I mean, obviously,
no, doubling up on it is smart. Doubling up on it is smart. The trade was stupid. Doubling up on it is smart. I have no issue with ever doubling up on a position in which you have a massive hole at. And they have had a massive hole on defensive line,
especially if it is
years.
Premium position.
Yes, especially if it's a premium position, but also especially if it's been like years since you've had any defensive line. Like
I was say Jalen Walker is tweenery to the point where you're not exactly sure exactly what his long-term position is in the way that like Zaven Collins kind of was.
Yep. So there's that. And the defense, like that defensive line gives me a lot of hesitancy. Like, who's their? Why am I blanking on their corner's name? That was really good a few years ago, and I think it's still
AJ Terrell.
AJ Terrell has probably seen a regression specifically because that defensive line doesn't anything. Like,
yeah, that's the thing about these like kind of mid-tier corners is like you'll look at their PFF grade and be like, 63. I thought he was good. It's like, yeah, he is good. He's got a lot of. They're not really. They don't have the stopwatch out and being like they just see that he got beaten coverage and they're like, well, that's a minus.
Which is funny because they have the stopwatch for the offensive line specifically, right?
Yeah,
and
overly simplistic way of saying exactly what they do, but like there's no way to account for like human errors, what PFF does, and it's like that's what happens.
Yeah. So that is a massive concern, and that is why there's a lot of reasons why I'd take the Bucs over them. However, I liked what I saw out of Penix, granted against really terrible defenses. Like 3 of the worst defenses, I think, is what we played. Still looked very good. I liked what I saw from him. I like what they've got on offense a lot. Their defense just needs to take a minor step for me to be like, okay, in that division, again, it's not like it's awful. I do think the Panthers have a better floor than they've had in years, right? But in that division, I could see them, competing with the Bucs again like last year. So,
okay. Between two, this is tough. Oh man, this is pretty tough. I'm going to go with the. I'm going to go with the perceived higher floor, I believe. But what is your ass going to do? Yeah, I'm going to take. I can't not have the Patriots.
I've been giving you a lot of hints on this because I suck at not doing that.
We've talked enough about the Patriots. If I had to redraft the NFL draft, last year's NFL draft today, I'd take Jaden Daniels because it would be silly not to, especially if I get his rookie season. Well, I guess I don't. I guess it's happening today. I would take Jaden Daniels, but I would really, really struggle not to take Drake May. It's the Stafford thing. I love the Stafford type quarterback, and that man stands tall and makes wild throws, and they're accurate and with zips from 1 foot fading backwards. He's a really incredible quarterback. And to do that with that supporting cast, and now the supporting cast is upgraded, not to the point that you want it to be, but it looks better. The defense is better. The head coach is Mike Vrabel. I have both a concern and a comfort in the fact that Josh McDaniels is the offensive coordinator, but it's got to be better than last year. The whole thing could come together in a nice way. This is very boomer bust because if they go Jesus, I said Boone or Bunst. If they go 5-12, that would not be shocking, which is why I was earing towards a couple of the teams at first. But it's like if I don't have the Patriots, I'm going to be disappointed because this is probably my team this year. I love the quarterback. I think the additions were fine on offense. I don't love Stephon Diggs, but I think that's a necessary addition. He's helped a young quarterback before with a similar skill set, and on defense, they added a ton. I didn't love every single one of their individual signings, but as a whole, the thing should make the defense hum. Vrabel signs off, and Vrabel's an excellent head coach that I would have happily taken if not for Ben Johnson. So that's my sleeper team. Like I said, have a futures bet on them to win the AFC East. I gotta take the Pats here.
Yeah. I will say this. I said it on when we did the NFC North pod, or whenever we talked about Drake May. Actually, I can't remember which podcast that was that I didn't post. I really said that all those ways. I think I told you to remind me.
Post it. You better post this one. I'll kill you. I know you live.
I will. How do I put this? Which a lot of Bears fans will look at his stats and be like, "How is he better than Caleb?" And okay, first off, project out his stats from 10 games to 17, and he's got the only thing he's worse at is ints. So like, I want Caleb to throw more interceptions so we can play like this. Like
that conversation would all start at look at Caleb's box score stats, and everybody in the world would say, "Oh, he was the second best rookie quarterback. He was awesome." No, you watched it firsthand. You know how Drake May is better than Caleb because Caleb's stats were bullshit.
Yeah, just project them out for 17 games, and you will get. I think it's like 3,800 yards. Let's see here, 38-59. Over 25 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions, 10 more interceptions than Caleb. I wanted Caleb to throw
at least a good thing.
Yes,
take some risks.
Because the reason why he does that is because he's stepping up in the pocket and throwing that over the middle to a tight window and taking a chance.
Middle.
Like he is the things that Drake May does that I don't think a lot of like the thing that I saw at UNC, for instance, showed in with the Patriots, where that offensive line was absolutely abysmal last year. If we want to complain about what the Bears, my Charlie's tail is showing on the thing. You want to complain about the Bears offensive line, watch the Patriots for a little bit. Watch what they had. It was awful. On top of what Pop Douglas was their best wide receiver last year. Maybe. Yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
They had nothing. They had better coaching, maybe, right? Like, I would probably say that, considering everything we've heard. That's it. And, like, sure, coaching can be a lot. But, my God, they had nothing, and he was able to do that. He steps up into the pocket.
I'm not even willing to grant coaching.
And so, like, the things that... And the funny thing is, I need to start paying attention to this when I'm looking at prospects, because the thing that translates over is he steps up in the pocket, and unlike I remember a play specifically, were they playing Clemson? I can't remember. And where he steps up in the pocket and unloads right before he hits the line of scrimmage, a beautiful ball, right? So like he's running away from he's basically avoiding the pass rush as if he's about to take off and run, and just unlaunches one. Specifically, again, stepping up into the pocket as he's taking off to run, kind of like Jaden Daniels has recently, where I think he's taken less sacks because he's escaping up and out instead of back, right? We're like Caleb and Shedeur Sanders, for instance. Shedeur Sanders is notorious for trying to escape running backwards. Does not work. These are things where I see it and I'm like, your arm talent is beautiful. Caleb's arm talent is beautiful too, right? They both have fantastic arm talent. But you add that with the mindset of how he attacks things, and it's like I almost
it's
want
also
you to
it's
be
also
stupid,
it's also
right.
It's
like
also
more
the
stupid.
specific. It's also the specific type of off platform. Is Caleb can sling it running to his left or right, but Drake can do it
in the Love and CJ Stroud way.
with no base, just standing there.
Yeah,
like there is no pocket, and he cannot step up, and he could still deliver a great ball. Or maybe it's not even a matter of it's just a matter of willing to.
It's that,
and that's Drake for me.
Yeah, It's what we talked about with Love and CJ Stroud, right? And then also Stafford, as you mentioned. Like, you have a muddy pocket, you have almost nothing to like use your feet with. You can still get that ball out. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like that a lot. I still think that their roster is a ways away. God, that offensive line is still bad, and I don't care what anybody says about Campbell. I think he's an upgrade at left tackle, but he's not a left tackle. I think once they actually get one, they'll move him into guard.
He is an upgrade at left tackle. I am willing to allow that, but my final word on it was going to be that is, yeah, I don't love that. Why there was just some fucking Python thing going on in the background on my load screen.
That's weird. That's not good.
I think use Python. Use SQL. Much easier. Anyway,
very different things.
Well, at my previous job, we used them for the same purpose, and I was so annoyed.
You use Python as a database?
Yes. It was insane.
You're storing into files and just using Python scripts and SQL. God, that's stupid. Holy sh! Okay, I'm not even. Let's not get that nerdy on here. Jesus Christ, that hurts my head. I would not have taken that.
It's good to have a little window for people that might be watching that we're both smart guys who know about Python.
You know who else is? My next pick, probably the head coach probably knows about Python because we're finally gonna pick.
Don't care because you're not up.
You just picked the Patriots. Yes, I am.
Fuck. What if I was right? That'd have been so nice.
That would have been funny. My dumbass would have done it. I'm gonna take the Bears.
Oof.
I mean, it's either them or what. There's a lot of bad vibes. There's some teams with good vibes, right? And there's a lot of good vibes, I think, coming out of the Bears. We're Bears fans. I think most Bears fans listening to this would be like, "You're taking them how late?" And it's kind of hard to like.
I guess I was never gonna take him. You could have taken him last. You couldn't have taken him last, obviously, but you could have taken him much later. You know that. You know I'm way more down than you are.
I know, and I think there's an article that was released today that I still need to finish reading that we're not going to talk about. That I think
we will not be broaching in any way because we do not have time.
Yes, I just want to quickly point out that there was an article by Go Long on their Substack that I think might be getting you to that point of negativity. I don't think it's affected my negativity as much.
I was already there. I was already there.
I know you were, but I think you go back and forth a little bit. We had this conversation twice now. Here's my thing.
Man, I bet $100 on them to finish in last place. I'm not one to just throw $100 around. They're going to finish in last place. That just is what's going to happen. There's no division. It's what's going to happen in the division. Yeah, they are significantly worse than everything in this division. Their roster is worse. Not to get into the quarterback is worse, and also the coach could be a fucking revelation. He's still probably the worst coach in the division.
That's the thing is our division is so fucking good. It's so good. I will say,
put us in the NFC South, and I feel really optimistic.
If you go quarterback independent, because I don't care what any Bears fan says, we need to see Jesus Christ. We need to see Caleb prove it, regardless of how good the vibes are. You go quarterback independent. I think I like our roster more than I like the Packers.
I thought you were kidding. The vibes are good. Are you out of your mind? The vibes are horrible. Ben Johnson is motivating Caleb via the media. This is horrible.
Right. Okay, fine. Fair. What you're saying is a little bit different than what like the fan vibes are and the national media vibes about how Ben Johnson's going to resurrect, make sure Caleb is on the right track, etc.
The national media's, I guess. Ugh, man.
I'm talking about those vibes. Vibes are great when it comes down to being a Bears fan. We need to see it. That's all.
Listen, I would like to get back to a cadence where we talk about the Bears and we talk about the NFL every Friday and we don't skip so many weeks. If we can't do Fridays, we do a different day, et cetera, et cetera. We got plenty of time to talk about the Bears. Just give me give me the elevator pitch because we don't have much time here.
No, I'm getting to it. Essentially, even with how difficult I think this schedule is going to be, there are some easy games in there, right? And I do think that a lot of what we saw with the Lions resurrection had to do specifically with Ben Johnson. Let's be completely honest. I know that Aaron Glenn gets a lot of credit for what he did with probably not that great of a roster throughout years with Detroit, especially when you consider injuries that he had to deal with. The Lions were never good because their defense was good. The Lions' defense has never been that good, right? Over the 3 years that they've had success. I just made my camera bounce. Ben Johnson took an offense mid-season that was struggling and made it good. Mid-season, then continues to make it incredible eventually. That's going to be the pitch. It's like, man, you get that coach as your head coach, and everything that I'm seeing from him as a head coach has fit what I would want. And there are things from how he's motivating Caleb, even, and won't get there, but that is exactly how I probably want to do it. The way that he talks about using the players is detailed and matches what I would have expected, right? Like, there are things you don't see from typical Bears coaches that I'm seeing. It's a good thing. I feel like he needs to prove it, but I feel like we got the coach right, and that would be my pitch.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to keep this as short as possible because I truly don't have much time here, and I wish we'd gotten to the Bears earlier. But I'm going to say why I don't like your pick. It is plainly our roster is the worst in the division, pretty noticeably, in my opinion. If we were in a different division, I wouldn't feel that way. Yes. The Packers have Micah Parsons, for example. Honestly, if you evaluate an entire roster, in fact, this is my main criticism of the Bears, is still one blue chipper, kinda, in Jalen. We don't have any fucking blue chippers on this team. And the one thing that could elevate it would be if our number nickels, I would say, just as a blanket statement, a nickel could just never be a blue chipper. There's just no way that he ever could be.
Brian Branch will play a lot of nickel stuff. I mean,
he's not a blue chipper. He is not a blue chipper.
I can name a few, but go on. There have been a lot of stud nickels coming out recently.
The best nickel of all time, in my opinion, is Chris Harris, and he was not a blue chipper. Okay. That is what I believe. We lack the top end talent. We still somehow lack the depth. We lack it in almost every way. I don't want to be so doom and gloom. I like having a good offensive line that on paper looks good going into the season, but even left tackle, even though we both like Braxton, only through Ben Johnson seemingly kicking and screaming was he named the starting left tackle. Every effort in the world was made for him not to be left tackle, including Theo Benedette. Yep. It's not a good sign. That is a bad vibe move for me.
Right.
It's a bad vibe situation.
Let's be clear.
Adam, we get it.
It's not as bad. Well, no. It's not as bad as people want to make it out to be with the left tackle. When you have 4 out of the 5, and granted, Darnell, I would be more concerned because there's also a little bit with Darnell Wright. But 4 out of the 5 typically is a perfectly fine place to be. Sure. Most teams do not have 4.
Yes, the offensive line is good. It is a good offensive line.
Right, I just want to be clear.
It still wants mentioning that the left tackle had to be named left tackle through literally the head coach trying every other option available to him. Yeah. When in our minds, left tackle was fine. So what the hell's wrong with him? Raises some questions.
A lot
right. Well, give him whatever makes him play poorly is whatever's making him play poorly.
I guess what I'm trying to say is I think you give him a little bit of time. Like, we have to give – I do think there's – even Brax was like, yeah, give me some grace. I'm coming off of an injury that was like – he didn't say it like this, but he was like, I am literally learning to trust my foot right now that I just came off of an injury with. In the last month was cleared, like literally just cleared to practice. I think it's pretty obvious why. And that is a concern going, especially early in the season. I think give it a little bit of time, and I think we'll come back to it.
Yeah, but can I say if we start 0-2, or especially 0-3, God forbid, but is what I will currently pick to happen, we're fucked. So, like, I don't. There's not time for this season for where you just pick them for this season. There's no time for this. We're fucked if we go 0-2 to start the season. And we're pretty fucked. And we're definitely fucked if we go 0-3. So, like, we got to get moving here.
I hear.
And to wrap up my point as succinctly as I can, I don't like the roster that much. I think it's been a C plus B minus job of the rebuild, whatever, by polls. But the one thing that could save us is if the quarterback elevates us. The number 1 overall pick in the draft, the blue chip, fucking badass quarterback, who I also have lost almost all faith in. I'm like a foot and 3/4 out the door on this guy. And one of the quarters did come from the article, which I highly do recommend. But I was already a foot and a half out the door on him. He played horribly last year. The flashes weren't even that impressive. He plays quarterback in the opposite way of how I was describing good quarterbacks. And you could survive that way, but the only one who has played in the exact way that Caleb Williams plays and has ever been any good is Aaron Rodgers. And he was a hell of a lot more accurate. In fact, he's the most accurate quarterback of all time, save for Drew Brees, probably. You can't play that way if you're not Aaron Rodgers. You cannot rely on relying on the sideline to bail out of interceptions. You have to be willing to throw some interceptions. The optimistic part of me is I do absolutely believe we've hired the correct head coach. But even then, is he a better head coach than Kevin O'Connell and Matt LaFleur, who will be going up against every year for the next 10 years in the best case scenario? I don't know. We'll see.
You have to prove
but that's tough.
Yeah.
So I'm just down on it. I hate to say it. And honestly, I like being in this position because holy shit, would it be nice to be wrong. What if we went 2-0 to start the season? I will completely flip my whole perspective. But I just don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it at all. I don't think we have the guys in place for what Johnson wants to do.
Yeah.
And also, I don't care. He has to be George Kittle for me to be okay with having taken the goddamn tight end with the 10th pick when there's so many things still not elite about this team with no possibility of ever becoming elite.
Yeah, and I want to clarify things for any any Bears fans that are listening. I think you're also saying I need to see it from Rome. The vibes might be great, but things didn't look great last year. Specifically,
I'm okay with Rome. Rome will be fine. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but I think he'll be fine.
Bears fans might want to say he's going to be a Pro Bowler this year and will be our wide receiver 1, right? That's where some of the hype is.
I'm willing to rule out Pro Bowler, frankly.
Yeah, I am between the two where I'm like, it could happen if the coaching happens, right? Because what Rome is good at, if you can get him on the same page and being able to see coverages as he's running his routes, are things that I think will translate very well. But you need to see it. So I get that part. So a lot of I think you don't see our weapons as good as, like, say, Steve Halzo and Sam Monson, non-Bears fans. As I mentioned to you, see our weapons. So that's part of it too. Because if you add that with our offensive line and where they see them, you would see a roster that I personally think is better than the Packers roster outside of quarterback, right? Like, you take quarterback and coach, and I would agree with you on the coach part. Like, Ben Johnson has to prove it, specifically because how many times has Matt LaFleur gone 13-3? And how many times has Kevin O'Connell had double-digit wins? Like, we're dealing with some very good coaches. So, like, we have an elite coaching set up in the NFC North. All around.
Listen, if you want to talk Bears throughout the year, we'll talk Bears throughout the year. So we gotta speed
throw that out there.
Adam, let me tell you really quick in my own life what's going on. My brother became a cop in Oak Lawn on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The city, the village in which I live. This is going to be the only chance I ever get to see him in his first week as a cop interact with the public at a kind of a charity, festival that he's working. And I really, really want to see how he's doing.
All right, let's do it. Go.
So we got to get going here. I'm taking the Cardinals. There's no reason to elaborate. They signed Josh Sweat. They seem like a team with a solid coaching staff. They've been on the verge. I feel like that we felt like they could be a breakout team every year. I like them more than I like the Bears this year.
I love
Kyler. I'm the one wild card for me is Kyler and his third year with Drew Petzing. Healthy. I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I think in general this is a roster that generally has young players that are on the rise. A lot of guys who, unlike the Bears, could become blue chips, such as Paris Johnson Jr. He could become blue chip this year, and in fact, I think he will become blue chip this year.
Yep. Monty Austin,
a lot of guys like that.
Done a fantastic. I pointed it out from his first draft. I'm like,
it's what the Bears should have done. It's the same thing he inherited. He's done a better job. It's frustrating to see. He was on our list too. No big
really
bullshit, but Austin Ford has really done a better job of this.
Yep. I don't think Poles deserves to be fired or anything like that. He's just more average. Austin Ford has done incredible work.
Granted, Poles' mistake, if there ends up having been a mistake, it's that he took Caleb Williams first instead of two better quarterbacks, and the world signed off on Caleb Williams, and I eventually did too. It didn't take much convincing, and now I regret it a little bit. I still take him with like the 5th pick, just because he's Caleb Williams.
Even with the article today, I'm reserving judgment. You will have my judgment by week 10. Because I need to see after halfway through the season, a couple games, I will have judgment for you by week 10. I might be there with you. I'm not saying that could be wrong. I'm just not ready to completely give up on him.
I'm just down on it. But go ahead, go with your next one.
I need to push back specifically because it's a lot of down.
It's just Austin Ford, I think, has done better. I think he's got a better report card.
I mean, the way that he's handled his process alone was things that I'm like, okay. Poles,
I mean, the big trade down, all the picks, pass on Will Anderson to get, but then you end up getting Paris Johnson anyway. Like
there's so much he's done. He's maneuvered the board very well. Cards I like, I liked the cards last year, and I think they were close to proving me right. A little bit of stuff at the end of the season, I think had.
They proved the fuck right out of you head to head in Arizona against the Bears. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So
that was probably the worst game of the season.
Yep, that is a team that
a lot of candidates.
Had you not have picked them, I was probably looking at picking them very soon.
I feel bad for presenting myself as so anti-Bears. The Bears had their moments. It seemed like it was going to work last year. I'm just disappointed that it really doesn't seem like Caleb is going to be the pure elevation type. But I've resigned myself to more of like the. Tier 2 is a ceiling instead of tier 1 at this point. I've dropped down to that point. I don't know. It's just
I also feel like you're making it out like his floor is super low. I don't think his floor is that low.
No, the floor is not that low. I absolutely agree the floor is not that low because we just saw the floor last year and it wasn't.
It was better than Fields. Can we both agree that it was better than Fields?
Yes, of course. It's not. Yeah. It's still starting quarterback in the NFL, but it's like. But still, it's like this is not.
We were all hoping
we took this with the first pick. This is what is supposed to differentiate us from the Vikings and the Packers and the Lions. We're the ones with the quarterback, like the big quarterback. I don't think we have that. I'm disappointed that I don't think we have that.
Yeah, I think
I'm hoping. I think I'm hoping for Jordan Love.
Yep, I think Bears fans will point to Trevor Lawrence and be like, "Oh, look at that. He wasn't whatever." Like. There wasn't ever a great quarterback in that draft, blah blah blah, and they'll give the Jaguars. It's like we might be at a worse spot right now if things project out the way that you're seeing them.
All right, you got a pretty. This is the first one where I don't. You're at the bottom of the barrel, I think. Huh?
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's why I'm trying to decide if I want to be risque or more low.
Risque.
You know what? Well, do I want to take the? Who do I have from that? No, I can't. That would be 3 from that division too. Fuck me. Have we both just taken from the same divisions? Do you know what I mean? Like, have you taken from a set of divisions, and have I taken?
I don't care because if I'm wrong, I have something to back me up. Someone's going to be good. I don't care about.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So I'm going to go ahead and be a little risque. I would take the Raider. Or
Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Okay, so you've officially conceded your early advantage on me.
What do you mean?
Because we were both starting out at a 500 winning percentage, and then you took a 1,000 winning percentage, and now you've gone back to a 500 winning percentage. You're both the Eagles and Cowboys. You're 1-1. I'm 0-0.
Cowboys, I don't have a lot of great vibes on. They sent Parsons, which I don't fully understand.
We talked plenty about the Cowboys. You got to keep.
Yeah. Just really quickly, as I mentioned earlier, that Dak's just done so well, and I have enough faith in, especially what they did with the Eagles. Like, you can't. That's going to color my judgment there. I probably would have picked the Raiders before that game.
I mean, healthy Cowboys is maybe last year's Bengals-esque, but with a much better bones of a defense. Like the secondary is solid.
Yeah,
an interesting linebacker. The defensive the defensive line, even without Parsons, has like a bunch of interesting bodies, I guess. And, between Izaric, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, actually, now that I think about it, but Donovan Azareku, whatever, Sam Williams, and Marshawn Nealon. There's like stuff there.
Yep.
So who knows? And I think
they
even signed Dante Fowler to play. There's stuff there.
Yeah, it's a higher floor defense, and then as I mentioned, the pass offense is going to be great. They're not going to have a running game. I think I already mentioned Javonte Williams probably had a great fantasy game, but like not that great, like run to run. So yeah, no, it's that offensive line is still going to be issues, but I still have faith in the pass game. And almost like the Bengals don't have an offensive line either, and Burrow's able to. You want to talk about quarterbacks who can handle not having a good offensive line, like we were talking about with CJ Stroud? Burrow is like the extreme of it, right? And Dak is starting to show he can be damn good regardless.
Yeah, Burrow does take sacks.
I wish
Burrow was, to go along with my personal love of him as a person. He seems like the only guy in the NFL who I'm positive is just a fantastic human being and shares many of the same values I do as a person. I wish he attacked the field a little more like, I wish he was had a little more Stafford in him. But he takes a sack, so he'll eat the ball if he doesn't love what he's seeing. But yeah, I just love that. I love him.
Yeah, I will say his sack numbers did go down. Not last year, I think they were up to 48, but they're not like terrible like they were early on. He's done a better job of avoiding it, and to him, he's always said, "Oh, it's third down, and sack or punt," and kind of get it more there than taking a sack on like second down or something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna pick. We've already gone over this a little bit. We both like him. We both don't have much reason, but I do think Pete Carroll gives them a ceiling. So Raiders, I pounding the ball with Genty, play action at the Bowers. The receivers are kind of shit, but I can absolutely imagine. I can't remember the guy's first name. I think it's Thornton. Is the fourth round rookie they have? Just I can imagine some like bombs to him. Just kind of harkening back to the old Seahawks days. I don't know. Carroll establishes a floor that a competence that the Raiders have not had in honestly since it predates Del Rio, who made the playoffs with them. Maybe it's that special teams coach who dragged them to the playoffs just because he was just like an adult in the room.
Yeah,
but it's a ceiling that I've not seen, or a floor I've not seen with the Raiders since like John Gruden. I guess Bill Callahan brought him to the Super Bowl. Bill Callahan sucked, and they just had a great roster.
Geno is also an addition that I think is going to be underrated.
Sure. I shouldn't. Should not leave out the biggest pickup. You've gone from the biggest pussy quarterback in the world in Derek Carr to, you hate it when I say pussy. I don't. In my parts of the world, it's okay to say pussy.
No, I don't. I actually.
But to somebody who's going to fit that shit into some windows, he doesn't. He's wide receiver agnostic. He's going to throw it to a guy.
Yep.
He's going to throw it to the hole and assume it's going to work, and it is going to work because it's better than taking sacks and doing stupid stuff. The offensive line is looking
like
fine to me. The defense is not great, but it's got some good players on it. It feels like the type of thing that Pete Carroll elevates to a point of competence.
I also want to add, Genty elevates the offensive line because he's a player who can. He's one of the few running backs where I do think that, regardless of offensive line, he will be able to break because he just
potentially. You know what? We talked about this briefly, not to cut you off, but what really sealed my opinion of Genty as a prospect was watching Boise State lose to South Florida by like 24 last week, being like, "Oh, that's how good Genty is."
Yeah. The other thing too is Geno does the same. So it's not just like. Geno had a bad offensive line with the Seahawks last year. That's why it's even like I'm lower on them now because they even got worse. Right? They had good tackles. Their interior was horrendous, and I think the tackles got hurt. I'm not 100% sure on that. I can't remember if they were dealing with injuries, but Geno has been dealing with a bad offensive line with the Seahawks, specifically with their interior, and still was doing the things that he was doing under pressure. Like I think they've got two players for their run game and their pass game, and then on top of also Pete Carroll adding that floor. elevate the one weakness they have. Like they're not the one. They're what? Like they don't have receiving talent, as you mentioned. I think that they add a floor to things that you can see a 9-win season and being a potential.
I mean, Bowers and himself is one of the few guys where if you don't have receivers, you can still say, well, they have Brock Bowers, so they still have a number one receiver. It's kind of like that.
Exactly. Let's quickly go on to the next one. This is now we're getting into places where I really hate a lot of these teams. So I am going to go ahead and take the Panthers because
wow,
Mike Tomlin's going to hate
more
me.
Ceiling, huh?
Yeah, I want to go for a little bit of a ceiling. I really liked what I saw out of Bryce Young at the end of last year. Like where
it's really bizarre. Almost rubbing it in our face. When we beat the Panthers pretty handily, and the announcers were saying like, well, we'll see if the Bears won that trade, but as of now, it looks like the Bears really got it. I remember texting him being like, we'll see. Bryce Young fucking sucks. We won. What are you talking? And then Bryce Young goes and outplays Caleb Williams pretty substantially for the last 8 weeks of the season. So it's like, all right. I'm not rooting against Bryce, but it was like it would have been nice to be like, we won easily.
Yeah. And like, to be fair, it's not like he looked like an absolute stud, but he looked damn good. And if you continue to take steps, like we'll see. I do like what they've done rebuilding that roster. It's a definitely the high ceiling. Like we'll see what the floor is. If it works out though, this could give me like 10 wins. So we'll see. Not much to add there.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Steelers. I will say
I like the addition of Tat. I'm starting to come around to Tat.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's that.
Thank you.
And Leggett wasn't as bad as I thought either. And he's kind of fun to listen to. He talks with an amazing Carolina accent. Go on.
I will say I would like to see if legit is legit. I don't like that I said that. I think it's corny, but he was not good last year. He was not good.
He was better
by any stretch of the imagination.
I had a very low.
He wasn't even actually that. I don't think he was. He was pretty disastrous. He fed off volume. He was pretty bad. He still does intrigue me. I'm seeing some good things coming out of camp and the little. Mm-hmm. We'll see. There's bones there.
Right, but
I do find trading Adam Thielen to be a we're not quite there yet move. Maybe reading a little bit too much into trading like a 36-year-old receiver, whatever it is. But it did kind of feel like you are ripping Bryce Young's favorite receiver away from him. In it,
it could also be.
It doesn't matter that much, but it reads to me. The tea leaves are saying, and we're the same idiots that took the Vikings, Commanders, and Broncos and the bottom 8 last year, so we don't know. Mm-hmm. But to me, the tea leaves are kind of pointing to there's sneaky upside with the Panthers, but this really feels like, if not Bucks, Falcons. So that's the point. But yeah, the Panthers, the upside's evident. I loved the Tet pick. Nobody was doing the Tet pick, and it was like, yeah, what if you give him like an alpha number 1 receiver, which I do think Tet is. Not like super super duper high end, but I really really like Tet. Anyway, I take the Steelers. There's not much to say besides Mike Tomlin never goes under 500. I don't like having Aaron Rodgers on my side.
So it's
I find it hilarious that Aaron Rodgers has been paired with Arthur Smith, the most play action motherfucker that's ever existed, and Aaron Rodgers famously hates play action. I find it hilarious that he's paired with DK Metcalf, the most size and speed and nothing else, no nuance, no route running, no attention to detail in this game in the world.
We're talking about the wide receiver that doesn't typically he's not where he's supposed to be. He kind of freelances routes with the quarterback who likes your guy to be exactly where he expects you to be. And
literally, he is size and speed and nothing else. And when that goes away, it's going to go away hard. We all understand it. while it's happening, it is fun to watch. He's a good player, but it could happen.
And he's still good today. It's just a weird period.
Well, we don't know. He might not be good today. We know he was good last season.
Yeah.
Once it leaves him, he's going to have to develop some route running skills. And hey, maybe Aaron Rodgers will teach it to him, because if anybody's going to teach it to him from the quarterback position, it's him. But
I'm also saying
this is all a disaster. And also, really quick, Arthur Smith has been experimenting with 4 tight end sets, which is hilarious, and so Arthur Smith. And also, they traded Minka Fitzpatrick for Jalen Ramsey to play nickel and Jonnu Smith just so we can complete those 4 tight end sets, which I think it's really underrated how awful of a trade that was.
I didn't understand that one. We talked about it. People kind of explained it, but I'm still like, maybe I just don't see it.
At this point, Mike Tomlin does not go under 500. So, I do expect this is going to be the year the bottom falls out. I think him and Aaron Rodgers, that marriage together, will explain
it's just everything.
Well, this one, like the next year, it'll be that wasn't Tomlin's fault. That was Aaron Rodgers' fault. So that one doesn't count. Let's get back to the over 500 record. But if I went on the floor at this point, it's Tomlin.
Like you just said, you're marrying Aaron Rodgers with Arthur Smith, and then you sent Pickens to bring in basically a lesser, somebody who probably should play like Pickens because of how big he is, right? Doesn't, and is just it's size and speed. It's really just speed with how he plays. Can we be honest here? Because he doesn't play with his size.
When you get down to the nitty gritty, yeah, they're not the same thing. But functionally in the NFL, they are kind of the same thing. And DK is just better at it. But it's also
they do it differently. They do the same thing differently. That's how I should phrase it. But with a receiver that has tendencies that Aaron Rodgers tends to push away from. So
but it's almost like Smith. It's almost like Smith at a certain point. Smith is like, well, what the fuck do I need 2 wide receivers for?
Right. And to be fair, they were redundant, but you do somebody else. They have Freiermuth, I guess, right? Good tight end. Yeah.
And Jonnu Smith now.
Another.
But that's not none of this. Rodgers wants to go 4 verts. He wants to look the safeties towards the middle so he can throw a back shoulder to that only the receiver can catch towards the sideline. That's all Rodgers ever wanted to do his entire career.
And Pickens is the one that was better at that, not Metcalf. Because Metcalf does not.
Sure.
That's the thing with
they expected for a while to have a better. Rodgers was plan C. I can't remember what plan A or B is, but I remember what it was at the time. I can't remember what it was. I don't want to go too far down this road, but it is a marriage. It truly feels like a marriage made in hell.
Worst case scenario, you trade for Kirk midseason. I don't know why they just didn't do that or hope that the
Kirk would probably work pretty well.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think that would have been a better marriage considering what Arthur Smith wants to do and the type of wide receiver that DK Metcalf is.
Kirk's a hell of a play action quarterback.
Yeah. Depends on how that Achilles healed.
I'd sign Ryan Tannehill off the street.
I don't understand. I just don't understand.
That's maybe a little too far. Rodgers still has some. Don't want to compliment this man in any way, but Rodgers maybe still has some tricks up his sleeve. But
he showed a little bit at the end with the Jets. I will say that, and it's less about Rodgers though, and more about this marriage. Even if Rodgers was kind of what he was a little bit ago, maybe not the MVP, but right before the MVP seasons when he looked like he was going down, but wasn't fully. Even if he was that, I would still be like, what the hell is going on? All that said, Arthur Smith is just a billionaire that said, oh, cool. I get to be a head coach. I get to be a coach in the NFL as I've got money. Let's just fuck around and find out. And he's been fucking around and finding out all the time. And God knows nothing could ever get that man out of it. He does the most insane shit. I don't get it. I don't. Because with the Falcons, it's the same thing. It's I'm just going to marry a whole lot of shit that doesn't work. Let's see what happens.
Weirdly, for a billionaire, in fairness, the heir of a billionaire, I don't want to get too bogged down in this. We don't have much time, but he does deserve credit for being at many points in his career an above average coordinator, to the point that he was so good at coordinating he got a head coach job, that being a billionaire did not hit him. He got to certain points because he was a billionaire, but he didn't get a head coach job because he got it on merit. And then we kind of caught on to it, and it also doesn't really work anymore.
I will say I can't say he's not creative.
But also, they made the playoffs last year with Justin Fields and Russell. So I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say he's not creative. It's just wild the things that he's willing to try. Like, and that's the other thing is like Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are not quarterbacks for that system either. And he was like, yeah, screw it, let's do this, let's marry these guys. So Rodgers is probably a better marriage here than they were. It's just everything. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see. And again, Tom, that defense looks. I mean, the defense should still be good. It's older now, like much older, but it should still be good. So we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead, fuck around, and find out, and take the Dolphins.
Okay. We're unless I'm told that I can't go to this thing anymore. We're officially at the point that almost no elaboration can happen.
Yep, that's why I'm just saying Dolphins.
Vibes are bad.
Yep, but I'll take bad vibes and hopefully a good offense.
So, I'll take the Seahawks. Seahawks is one that I've wanted to discuss for a while. I think there's a chance that they have the best defense in the league. Offense is obviously horrible. I don't like it, but if it's competent, I think the defense can get the merit single-handedly.
Yeah. Very quickly, it's Sam Darnold with a terrible interior offensive line that's going to give up a lot of pressures, and Sam Darnold does not do well with pressures. We saw him with the Vikings last year against the Lions when he got pressured, and what the hell happened. It's not a good marriage. I don't understand why they moved off Geno, and then it's just JSN. I don't know. That offense scares me. But yes, I agree with you on the defense.
Cooper Kupp. Some untapped upside there.
It's a skeleton of Cooper Kupp. I'm going to go ahead and take the Saints. I don't like their setup versus what else is left on the board.
Just man, they're going Rattler and Tyler Show.
Show is going to be interesting. I'm fine with Rattler considering the rest of the
I'm not interested in Tyler Show at all, man.
I don't know. That's Show. I don't know what's going to happen is what I meant by that. Who else? Look at what we've got left. You want Anthony Richardson and Daniels? Take them. Danny Dimes?
No.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. There's Shador Sanders and what's his name? Gabriel. Actually, you know what? I've got.
All right, you're getting defensive. Do you have a thing that you like about the Saints, or can we move on?
No, fucking blow it up and fire Loomis, please, for the love of God. They're just going to be boring and bad, and it's not going to be fun to watch for Saints fans, and I feel bad for them because it's going to continue like this until they switch.
So I'm going to take upside. I do think he's the worst first overall pick since probably Jared Goff, but also I do like him, and I think he got too much hate because the overall class is a little bit. It was obviously not a great class, but I do think he is like a fine quarter. Like I don't have a problem with Cam Ward. I think he's fine. I think he could be very good. In fact, right now, the vibes are pointing Cam Ward over the previous number one overall pick, to be frank. So give me the Titans and give me a terrible division that is winnable by somebody, and why not the team with maybe this guy will be good. Who knows? Jaden Daniels was really good last year. This is also a freaking super senior that's coming out now. Sure.
Yeah, I don't like what I've heard out of camp. It just sounds like he needs a lot more time, if anything. But yeah, sure, we can go Titans there, especially considering what's left on the board. This is where I think I'm going to now I made fun of everybody else, but I did mention Flacco, so I'm going to go with the Browns, who have an interesting shell of a roster. They have really lost, I think, that offensive talent that they had when they had Baker over the years that Watson basically wasted it. But Flacco, showed enough the last time he was with them. We'll see what ends up happening. And I like the defense.
Okay. I've accidentally deleted one too many teams from my list because I only have 3 left. So
that should be what you have, I think. You have the Giants, Colts, and Giants.
I haven't written down Browns. Yeah. Okay.
I wrote down Flacco instead of Browns. Huh.
Give me Giants. They have an easy schedule, and maybe Dart's good.
Dart's giving some good vibes, and
also the roster. No, I didn't mean Dart's good. Dart has good reports.
Yeah.
And I'm not fully out on Dable as a coach.
Also, Neighbors is a stud, and that defensive line is still like they added more to it. Like, we'll see what ends up happening. But Giants could be a surprising team. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Colts because as much as I don't like everything with the Danny Dimes and Anthony Richardson set up, they're not this bad. They shouldn't be one of the last teams we're taking, should they?
I mean, I think you literally took the two worst teams in the league with your last two picks. So, like, that's a part of the reason they're still around.
I mean, I
don't know, man.
I had the Titans lower. I do have the Colts low. I mean, yeah. These last few were pretty bad.
There's a lot of, last year the Bears finished 5-12 and they still only picked fucking 10th. So, like, there's a lot of fucking bad teams in the NFL. So, cool. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing which one of these last 8 or which 3 of these last 8 picks make the playoffs this year, and one of them goes to their conference championship game like last year. Because
if I had to make a bet, the Giants might be it.
That's why I picked the Seahawks. The Seahawks was the one for me. I don't know what to make of them, but I know Mike McDonald is going to have that defense out of their mind, and it really only requires a little baseline of competency. And if that involves Sam Darnold getting benched and Jalen Milroe coming in or Drew Lock, whatever, like, so be it. But I think there's at least a puncher's chance that the defense is just fucking crazy.
Okay, and to be fair, I'm not going to push back on that. I personally think that they have a realistic chance of being the best defense in the league, considering how they ended last year when they finally started to figure out McDonald's defense. Hey, look, and I love that scheme. You know how much I love that scheme. I love that coach, his defense specifically. So, like, yeah, I honestly could see them being the best defense in the league if they continue to learn it that well, even though maybe the talent's not as good. Because, shit, he's done fantastic things with teams before.
But it is true. I think they did have the best defense in the league for whatever, X amount of weeks.
The last 6 to 7 weeks, probably.
So it's like, bring them back. It's like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of upside there.
No.
I think I took better upside swings with you in the end.
Yeah,
you beat me like 25. You beat me by like 26 wins last year. So, like, I'm not.
Look,
I'm not Mr. Know-it-all there, but
Steelers probably over the Panthers.
I'm very surprised that you took the Saints and Browns. I gotta say, those are in my opinion, the 2 worst teams in the league.
I think the Browns specifically because again their defense has at least shown a steady floor, right? And all you really are looking at is how does Pat Surtain come back from last year, which isn't even a bad last year. Like, he was still very good.
Who are you talking about? Not Pat Surtain.
Not Surtain. Who's their corner? Why am I blanking on there?
Denzel Ward.
Give me a second. I'm being stupid. I might just be being stupid.
Myles Garrett? I mean,
no. I bet you I was thinking of Broncos real quick because of the colors.
Oh, Jesus. And also the colors are not similar at all.
Not that similar. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me.
There's just a little.
My brain's dead. We're 3.5 hours in. My brain's dead. Literally, as I said it, I'm like, oh no, I'm being dumb. Greg,
this was so unbelievably long. We had to hit every team, and then we had a double back on teams we already talked about at length before.
Yeah, I would say that, like,
I've probably missed my chance to see my brother patrolling the streets.
No, go now. But
also ACAD. Well, no, we could hang around another couple minutes just watching some.
I still like their defense. Myles Garrett's a stud. They added Schlesinger, who I thought was a really good linebacker coming into the draft. They have what's it called? They have Ward and Newsome. Newsome hasn't been as good as I probably would have thought after his rookie year, but he's still been good, right? Like,
Man, Newsome has. I'm not going to say he's done the full Eric Stokes, but he's done a bit of an Eric Stokes.
Yeah, we'll see. I will say, like, I took him 2 rounds after the Seahawks with a much lesser like defensive swing on it. So kind of similar thinking with hoping that Flacco figures it out for their offense.
I mean, I'll take the Seahawks offense over the Browns offense any day.
I don't know. I will say Stefanski gives me a lot of hope there. Stefanski is still a damn good offensive coach.
Like Clint Kubiak, running the same basic stuff that
the Saints offense went to shit after like week 3. We got all hyped about it, and then
Carr got hurt, and Olave had his like 8th concussion of the year in week 4. Like I Kubiak's not amazing, but he's not bad. I think there's stuff to be on there.
It's very good.
I'm not willing to write Cup out. I'm not willing to write Cup off as a corpse just yet. He was actually quite good for the first 8-ish weeks last season.
My concern with
JSN is rising. Walker and Charbonnet is a nice little 1-2 punch.
Right,
they drafted Gray Zabel.
Offensive line that is just
Gray Zabel could help it out. The whole thing. They lasted this long for a reason. They were the ones where it was like, if they fall really far, which they did, it was like, well, that's probably my one that I can foresee how they could be really good. And the other ones, I can't really see it. Like how could the Saints like save your like if a lot of your picks suck, like how could the Saints save you? That's kind of my thing.
I think the Colts would be the biggest chance, would have the best chance of if Danny.
Sure, I mean the entire AFC South should have gone higher.
Yeah. So like the Colts would be the ones. I wouldn't say the Saints. The Saints to me are like,
well, not the Jaguars, but everybody else.
Yeah, the Saints are like, I think we get a 5-win floor, and some of these floors on these teams are like 2 or 3. That's why I went with the Saints. Where it's like, I think Kellen Moore probably gets you 5 wins with Rattler.
I was arguing with a friend at a fantasy draft last Friday where he said the Saints are going to be the worst team in the league. And I said, no, I'll take the Browns. I will take the Browns last. But I'll definitely take the field. And then we shook on a bet that he's too drunk to remember, so it's not going to happen, that just yes or no, will the Saints have the worst record in the league? I do think Kellen Moore will get them somewhere.
It's hard with the Browns because I saw what Jameis Winston gave that offense some life, right? And the defense, right, maybe not. Again, it's not great, but it is a better defense than I think a lot of these teams at the bottom have, except for maybe the Giants, who have a very underrated defense. You saw what Jameis Winston did with that offense. And yes, it was still volatile because it's Jameis Winston. I think the corpse of Flacco, considering the corpse of Flacco has already shown pretty good with Stefanski, will get something out of the Browns. That, again, it's more of a floor pick than a ceiling pick there. It's a hope that the floor is there because of everything I just said. I don't know if that makes sense. The Colts, though, might be the team that makes the playoffs out of all of them. Danny, there are weapons on that offense.
It does. You know what I think? I think if you win, it's because the top of your draft was good. And I went a little more conservative at the top of my draft, and I went for some swings, starting with the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, I took.
I feel much better about this than I did last year. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel a lot worse about this than last year. I will say that the Falcons and the Cowboys are 2 swings. Like, if we're gonna start with the Patriots, and my pick before
the Panthers, the Panthers was an interesting swing that I did. I was like, okay, I think they're bad, but sure.
I will say the thing that bugs me with yours that I think you did, I would agree that you beat me at the end, was the Cardinals pick. I was really sad when you took that, and then I was really sad when you took the Raiders.
That's why I almost took the Cardinals instead of the Patriots, because I knew you must be eyeing the Cardinals at some point. But then I was okay with the Cowboys falling to me.
So I was going to take the Raiders next. It's because I doubled up so much on some of the divisions early. I felt bad taking some of the other teams, and then I see you take them. I'm like, I still like those teams. Damn it!
You're going for the perfect score here. You got to be going for the
I know I need to be taking best available, which is probably why I won last year. Where I think
You did that better last year. I feel you changed your strategy after fucking wiping the floor with me.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. How's this game going, by the way? I have not been watching.
It's at halftime, I think. Probably. I don't know. No, it's after halftime. Probably still 10-3. I gotta get out of here.
Yeah. I'm Adam. That's Kevin. Thank you for sliding the
Bye.
Virginia VDMs.